to be fair, we haven't had a single person mention it, so like...
Yeah, so that's because like we've had no audience so far. Now
Yeah, and like I've been adamantly like checking all the Discord channels, and like there's been nothing.
yeah.
Yeah, but to be fair, sure, I feel like we might sort of do like tours or like songs based on you and John being queer. It's
Yeah.
Hello! We're here.
Hi everyone.
I almost did the we're here, we're queer, get used to it, which is kind of true.
True for
Kind of
some
fits.
of us.
Okay.
It does
Like
not. It
Save it for
represents a
Pride
good
Month.
amount. Welcome to Nebula Theater Cast, where I almost did the Fanbell cast opening. Oh my god. We are talking
We
today.
will have a fan battle cast coming up later.
Oh yeah, we can shill that. I don't think I can send people to it though because it's not on my channel, but we can shill that at the end.
I'll just drop the link in the chat later on.
We are here to discuss a bunch of matchups today that will be on an upcoming Halloween bracket that we will be putting on. Everyone on the team, including not just including us, including like beyond us, has chosen a bunch of matchups to go against each other, and whichever one wins at the end of the bracket will become a future Halloween episode of Nebula Theater. This is kind of my way of going back to giving my viewers like an option in terms of what episodes might be made. Because that was important to me in the beginning. I still kind of want to keep it. But this was also Saul's idea. So I'm stealing it.
Was
I'm
it?
taking you. It was your idea to do a Halloween one.
Oh, yeah.
But we got a lot of people here. I should probably not ignore you. We got Sherm, who I'm now looking at now.
It's not a beholder, it's me. I'm real.
Oh, is that the beholder?
Yeah,
That is
It is
very
a rendition
early
of a
design
beholder.
That's my cat
Yep.
complaining that the window isn't open because it's snowing outside. We got
Ooh, open the window!
we got Jobber.
Good eye to everybody.
We got Paul, whose Wi-Fi is running like shit, I guess. And then Saul, whose Wi-Fi is running like shit, I guess.
What? No, my Wi-Fi's fine.
We got Dark
Hey.
Lore
Hello.
and Zoro.
Hello.
We will now explain these matchups as best I can, but I'm putting us on a time limit per matchup because we have 32 to talk about, and some of us got shit to do, like Sherman Darklore on Fan Battlecast later today. So we're going to try to go through these and explain them in a way where if you don't know these characters, you'll get it. Starting with one I can kind of help with, but we'll probably leave it to Saul, which is Gengar versus Beholder.
And Zoro.
And
Yeah,
Zoro.
this is my. Yeah.
This is Zoro's submission.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
a D&D guy.
And I am both D&D and Pokemon, so let me get into this. So, Beholder and Gengar. Me and Sherm kind of talked about this one before on a few casts, but just to reintroduce you to it, this is what we call the basic creepy creature matchup. Basically taking iconic horror, just like the idea of like scary monsters in RPGs and putting them against each other. This would be Gengar from Pokemon, you know, the classic ghost type to have ever ghost type, and the Beholder, which is the most iconic original creation monster that isn't derivative of like, you know, existing tropes like, you know, dragons, elves.
And also,
And-
Beholders aren't like individual characters. They're also a species.
Yeah. So this would be
Okay.
kind of like taking the pinnacle of each species and then throwing them against each other. And while it doesn't look like it, they actually do have a couple of unique interactions with each other because
Yeah.
the Beholder can bite, which is technically a dark type move, which is something Gengar's weak to. And the way Beholders interact and create more Beholders is with their dreams. So when they fall asleep, they have this power to just manifest their dreams into reality, creating other Beholders and even upgrading them to a Deathstalker, which is more of an undead creature. And guess which Pokemon is really known for like putting people to sleep with like hypnosis and whatnot? Gengar. So like just a scenario of like Gengar putting a Beholder to sleep, but then, you know, just to try to use stuff like Nightmare and Dream Eater, only for it to backfire and evolve into a Darkstalker would be great. Gengar could also evolve.
Yeah.
Could
I was gonna
also
talk
evolve.
about-
Oh yeah. Here, I'll let you take over for a sec.
Yeah, just to talk a little bit about the Beholder in terms of like its main gimmick. I think that's important to mention here, is that its main gimmick is that it fires different beams that have multiple different effects, such as petrification, fear, charm, slowing, kind of in the same status effect way as Gengar can. Because I'm pretty sure Gengar gets like Will-O-Wisp, right?
Yeah,
It's
it
been a while
gets
since I've
Will-
used Gengar.
hypnosis. It also gets stuff like Confuse Ray. So, despite what they look, they're also really good at like fighting each other with like indirect means of combat, just kind of like stacking effects. More tricky fighters than you'd expect out of these two.
It's also going to be really interesting debate-wise to look at, like, because there are certain beholders. So there's a beholder who has the power of the anti-magic cone, which basically it creates a cone of, again, anti-magic that prevents any creature being able to use their magic, which you can make the argument would just completely mess up Gengar from being able to do any of its specific moves, you know?
Yeah, depending on how we classify what moves in Pokemon count as like magic and what are more innate, because I know stuff like a dragon's fire breath would not be considered magical, so really would depend on like what moves we'd count for that. And there are also stuff that Gengar does that aren't strictly combat in the games that could help, like its ability to like phase through objects, possess things, classic ghost stuff that could also be really good at like for really fun stuff, just for like indirect combat and stuff like Double Team.
Oh, hi, Pen. How you doing?
Hey,
I think some people are asking, like, they say it vibes, but they don't know why. I think a good way to grasp the core theme of this matchup is it's like one of the most iconic Pokemon versus one of the most iconic D&D monsters. They've been there since the beginning. They are very like one-to-one with their franchises. And what's really interesting is that this was comparing like a D&D monster to like a standard Pokemon monster. It would just be fascinating to look at their different spells and moves, see how they interact. Maybe comparing Pokemon types to like damage types in D&D, seeing how those interact. Seeing what like the peak of what a Gengar is capable of, what the peak of a Beholder is capable of. It's just a really, really cool way to approach a D&D versus Pokemon matchup. It'd almost be like, we can almost like approach it from like a nature documentary type of style where we're looking at like, what is a Gengar? What is a Beholder? I think it's very cool.
And on that same trail of thought, considering D&D is like Western and Pokemon is like Japanese, this can also be a good look at like the philosophies of like different of Western and Eastern media of like how they design monsters and how the realism of like Western stuff versus the more cartoony, wacky stuff of Japanese RPGs.
Would we give Gengar like Mega Evolution or Gigantamax or anything?
I would. I don't know about Gigantamax because that's location specific, isn't it?
I mean,
we might decide
Mega
that as we do our
Evolution
research
kind of.
If we do this one.
Yeah. I would say kind of because there, especially of ZA, there are phenomenon of like Pokemon Mega evolving without the use of a trainer, so we wouldn't be breaking the rules by allowing Gengar to Mega evolve on its own.
Yeah, we can get into like some of the crazier D&D abilities as well. Like I know, what is it? The spectators can like plane shift once a day.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be really fun.
Yeah, it's just a fun one, I think.
All right.
We want to move on?
Yeah. So I have no idea who these people are.
Ooh, I love this one.
Oh, I like this one as well.
Woo! Yeah, guys.
I forgot Jobber was here for a second.
I was waiting.
He was sitting here dormant until Herbert West versus.
I got reanimated, bro. Literally, oh my god, the thing. Oh my god.
Reanimated.
Oh my gosh. Nah, this matchup, it cooks. I really like this matchup. I think it's pretty underrated for both. I would love to do this. I imagine the beginning aspect of this fight. I don't think I got to tell Sherman, but like I could imagine, let's say if Herbert West is like rolling up to this like SCP Foundation, right? Let's say he's walking through the dark hallway, and through like this dark hallway, he sees through an open door, like a scientist's hand falls dead, and like 04, like the plague doctor walks through, and then like Herbert thinks he's gonna get another lackey because the reason why he's here, he's looking for like at least a new a reagent, right? He's heard about a dude that's been alive for like so long, right? He's like, I think I could get another lackey, right? And so the plague doctor's like, hey, want to shake on it real quick? They both shake on it. They dap up. Herbert like just drops dead, and I don't know. Basically, 04 goes about the pestilence, how he just like basically did him a service, and Herbert just has no time to sleep. I'm working a double shift, and like the plague doctor's like, what the? You're no Foundation doctor. He's like, yeah, I'm not, bro. And then the armies come in. I don't know. It could be a lot of fun, It could be a lot of fun with this matchup. This is cool.
I really like how one of the most important factors of this fight, because they both have levels of being unkillable, is who's the better surgeon. Because both of their win cons involve performing some kind of procedure on the other person to stop their immortality.
Yeah. I was going to
ask.
That's
a really fun debate.
I was going to ask, what does a fight look like between these two?
So Herbert has guns. Those are helpful in fights. But primarily, the idea for this is kind of like they're using their zombie armies against each other. 049 has like more basic zombies for the most part, but it also has like better control over them. Herbert West has like a larger variety of zombies and undead, but they are for the most part kind of feral and unpredictable, and for the most part uncontrollable, except for a couple of notable examples. So it's kind of like 049 can kill someone just by touching them, but that specifically stops their like vital organs and processes. And because of Herbert West's demon blood, he should just kind of like come back from that as soon as 049 stops touching him. So it kind of becomes a thing where like they just try like their instant kill options, it doesn't work, and now as their zombies are going everywhere, they're trying to figure out, okay, what, this guy is a hassle. What do I do here? We gotta figure something out. So it's essentially they're trying to use their resources to incapacitate the other one so that they can perform their win con, basically.
Okay. That
They
sounds
also have a
interesting,
good
at least.
amount of esoteric equipment as well. Like Herbert West has like the Necronomicon. 049 has a couple of minor SCPs he's utilized. It's some cool stuff that they can utilize in a fight like this.
It does seem really interesting. We'll see one of these characters later. By the way, I should mention to both you guys and audience that this isn't in the order of how the bracket will be placed. You'll know the first round of the bracket on Friday. These are just all of them together. I mixed it up so it didn't become predictable later on. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey!
Shenkara Heisenko? Or how do you say it?
It's Hisenko versus Squiggly. Darkstalkers versus Skullgirls. And the obvious connections for this one going in, this is another one of my matchups, is that both of them are zombie girls from fighting games, with Hisenko being more like one of those Japanese hopping zombies, I forget the name of it, well, Squiggly's just a more classic one, and another connection is that both of them just draw power from another being in order to maintain control of themselves, because despite being monsters, they're actually in control and human, with Hisenko. Her sister is in that spell tag on her hat, and that keeps her sane, while Leviathan, which is Squiggly's parasite, is the one that helps her break from the control of the Skullgirl when she raises a zombie army. And it would be a really cool thing to look into and really also break down the dynamics of like certain fighting game archetypes, because Squiggly is more of a zoner, using her music notes in long reach just to keep her distance, while Hisenko is more of a all-rounder rushdown character. Like, she does have a few projectiles like her spike balls, but her main game plan is to use long normals to just poke in and also just like rush in with those claws just for big combo damage. So I think it would just be a really cool, not only like a Halloween fight, but also like a cool fighting game matchup.
Real quick, I just want to say, I'm new to this whole monetization thing for YouTube, and the Real Fan Battlecast donated $10, so very much thank you. I appreciate that. Second of all, can we figure out who this is? Because I thought it was Sherm donating to me at first because of Fan Battlecast. I was like, no, wait a second. That doesn't make sense.
I mean, obviously it's the Real Fan Battlecast. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Wait, so I've been working for Fake this entire time? I got fucking ripped off.
Sherm's a fraud.
I'm gonna ask a dumb question real quick. Is anyone else hearing like a ringing right now?
No.
I don't hear ringing
Okay,
now.
my computer's having issues. I might dip for like 10 seconds and then come back.
Okay.
But you know, with like Darkstalkers and like Skullgirls, I really like the series pairing. You know, this is a pretty nice series pairing in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it's a really nice series. Fun fact, at one point the developers of Skullgirls tried to get a Darkstalkers game done by reaching out to Capcom, but they're Capcom, so they said no. Especially, yeah, and Skullgirls took a lot of inspirations from Darkstalkers when they getting the game, so both of them kind of have like that high, fast-paced, kind of like, I don't want to say anime-style fighter, but like that really high-paced action that you'd see in like Marvel vs. Capcom and games like that.
Oh, so it's like high spectacle?
Yeah, like very high spectacle, flashy combos in both games. And both of them also have a lot of silliness in their animations, so despite being Halloween, it'd be mostly like a little bit on like the goofier side of like Halloween stuff.
Okay, alright, that makes sense.
I think it's funny that of all the Darkstalkers matchups that exist, this is tied for my number one because thematically it's pretty solid. And dynamically it's pretty solid. It is essentially a 2-on-2 in a way. Because Hisenko?
Yeah, Hisenko.
Hisenko has the spirit of, or is it their sister?
Yeah,
I think her and
their
her sister inhabit the same body, I believe, and they kind of switch in and out every now and then, if I'm remembering correctly. And then Squiggly has got the thing on her head, which is a what do they call it? It's just called a parasite. Yeah, it's a parasite
also,
that has
it's not
sentience.
on her head.
It's in her
It's
head.
in her head. She has a hole in her head.
It's kind of like, you know how Philia from Skullgirls has that little parasite hair shit? It's the same thing as that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as that. It helps her fight and all that. They both have connections to like rich families and losing things in kind of fucked up ways and going after certain people before like kind of letting go. There's a lot of cool parallels between their characters as well as a fun fight dynamic. IMO. But we should move on. We went past 4 minutes. Fuck.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay.
someone mentioned this in the Discord, and
People have mentioned this.
Okay,
I'm
wait,
gonna have to
hold on.
take over here.
Yeah, this was
matchup is
nor-
how we make all our money back.
yeah. So this was normal submission. He gave me a little thing in order to say when this matchup came up. Okay, here it is. When childhood is corrupted and those fun mascots we love to watch as kids are brought to reality as disfigured monsters, two monsters will face off to prove which creature spawned from man's hubris will finally end the other's suffering. Very dramatic for fucking Huggy Wuggy versus Jumbo Josh.
so isn't Garden of Banban like a shit meme game?
It is slop. Okay, so to explain, Huggy Wuggy
The definition of
is
slop, but I love my slop.
Huggy Wuggy, basically, there is this individual known as the Doctor who came up with something to, he came up with a way to save his company, which ended up making these experiments, and created, this creature by killing orphans.
As
and
one
Jumbo
does.
Josh is theorized at least to be similar. It's some kind of mindless brute creature. It's a very funny matchup in terms of what they're both able to do. Huggy Wuggy, obviously, it has long arms, it has teeth. It has a mini sentry that, will, if you make a sound near it, it'll, sense to it. It's so weird. Huggy Wuggy, Jumbo Josh has a drone he's allowed to ride that lets him fly about, and the drone can teleport. Huggy Wuggy has supernatural and strange hearing, can charge at people, and has Among Us style sabotages. Basically, there's one that's called Feeding Frenzy, which basically people who are knocked down by Huggy Wuggy are sent into the feeding room. Basically, BFR. Booby Trap, Living Nightmare. Living Nightmare blinds you. Booby Trap, explodes a pillar. There's ways to disable the backpacks. There's ways to disable doors. There's ways to shut down the puzzles in the room. Jumbo Josh has reincarnation. So every time Jumbo Josh would die, he can possibly be respawned to an earlier time as a save state. And he gets jump boosts and speed boosts.
Somebody said Chapter 5 will get Huggy to multi.
You wish.
The process.
It's really, really funny, but because Ban Ban has a genuine, I forget where it gets. It's a multi-city level feat.
Oh, shit.
It gets at the highest end. It gets 176.8 megatons of TNT.
That's fucking crazy.
Wait, does Catnap have a town feed as well from getting the electricity up?
The Nab electricity feat is weird.
You know what else is crazy?
What's
Mama?
up?
Come to you live from a Dollar Tree.
Okay. Anyway,
Alright.
so yeah, I just think as much as this is a slop and a joke matchup, we can make something very atmospheric and fun out of it. I'm pretty sure, who was it? I'm pretty sure like Origin did like a test animation with like sprites of these two. So there's clearly potential for us to do it.
Imagine this episode wins the poll, and then Origin contacts us and is like, "Yo, can I work on this episode?"
Oh my god.
It would be very funny to do.
I mean, it's a server, so it's possible.
If this wins, Normal's doing all the work himself. I have decided that. Even if you want to help him, you can't.
Agreed.
Damn, he's trapped.
I low-key forgot about the Poppy Playtime Dead by Daylight type game. Yeah, that's where Huggy Wuggy gets like a lot of his stuff.
Oh, this is crazy.
Now,
God, I'm losing my shit.
Crazy?
Now it's-
That was crazy once.
now it's on to,
Okay.
to a matchup I put on. And I can kind of briefly go over things because we just talked about this recently on a Fan Battle Cast for a Halloween matchup, so go watch that. But the idea of it, if you've never heard of Signalis or Dead Space, because I realize Dead Space is like fucking almost 2 decades old at this point or something like that, which makes me upset.
Let me interject. Wasn't there a remaster?
Oh yeah, there
Or
was
remake?
a Dead Space remaster or remake.
Also,
that
did
came
we
out,
do
yeah.
the matchup? Did we do Mara Force versus Erico?
No, not yet. You'll see
Okay.
that when we get there.
Okay.
I lost my train of thought. Dead Space, game about shooting a bunch of alien things on a ship, and Signalis is an indie game, which that's awesome, where you're kind of journeying into the depths of this like crazy planet and trying to unveil like people's histories and past, or not people, but I guess your unit Elster, history and past and stuff like that, and then figuring out what the hell is even going on in the world. They're both horror type games that have a lot to do with like the character's own psychology. Like there's a little bit of implication of both of them like kind of going crazy within their games because of external forces, which is really interesting. The main difference being that Isaac Clarke's got a lot of, I'm gonna say, more basic. I guess they kind of both have basic weapons, but Elster's is weird. He's got like his little plasma rifle that can change directions. He's got a blade that he can like hold in place to like rip people apart. Elster's got normal guns, but she also has a flare that if she hits you with a flare, it will disintegrate you. Not how flares work, but that's fine. She has a stun baton, which no matter how strong the robot is you're fighting in the game, it just like knocks him out for a couple seconds. Depending on the scaling of these characters, that could be pretty important. And Isaac Clarke is a human being, whereas Elster is a robot. And in Signalis, Elster loses body parts and finds like her arm, and finds other robots that are similar type model as her and starts like sticking their parts on instead, which is also a cool thing you can have in the fight, since Isaac Clarke's whole thing is like changing the direction of his gun to rip off specific parts of the alien's like body. So I think there's a lot of cool atmospheric horror-y stuff you can do there. And I think it could
This is the same guy who fought
dynamic.
Zeus, right?
What?
In PlayStation All-Stars.
Who fought Zeus, right? Sorry.
But we can move on from this one because I know nobody knows what Signalis is.
I know what Signalis is.
Oh,
I know from you talking
Wait, am I
about...
glitchy?
what happened? I didn't even know Tropitaku was here, by the way.
You
No,
didn't
he's
know I
coming
was
from
here.
live
I
from the
literally
Dollar
said I was
Tree.
lied to you at a Dollar Tree.
All right.
Oh,
So
can you pick me up
Pinocchio
a-
versus
I was saying it up like, you know what's crazy? I'm at a Dollar Tree. Y'all were like, "K."
yeah, of
I think
course.
Pinocchio versus
We
Alice
haven't-
is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's valid.
Geppetto's
as well.
puppet.
Okay, we gotta talk about that.
Is he
Yes.
not Pinocchio?
I'm pretty sure he's just referred to as Geppetto's puppet now.
Yeah,
Alice
they
Wiki calls him
they
Pinocchio,
never
I'm pretty sure.
yeah, they
He's
they
not
never
called
refer to
Pinocchio
him as
in the game.
Pinocchio in game, if I remember correctly. It's just Geppetto's puppet.
This was another one that I learned of through Fan Battlecast, and just the idea of like them talking about it and like the potential it had was just really cool. I know I'm probably not the only one that can talk about this, but from my understanding, they both have a lot to do with like mindscapes. Alice specifically having her own mindscape which she can shape, and I think Geppetto can enter someone's mindscape and send them to other mindscapes or something like that.
Ooh, that's
I
cool.
agree, yeah, there's some interesting interactions.
Geppetto has
If you'd like to know
different
more about the interactions, watch our Fan Battle cast.
Yeah.
Geppetto's Puppet versus Alice.
It's all right there.
Give us views, subscribe even.
Get them to 500 so Sher will start paying me. Anyway, they have a bunch of different weapons. Alice got a knife, a black pepper, Gatling gun and shit. Geppetto can change its arm out to have different weapons on it, swords, blades, guns, whatever. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it, but I feel like my main appeal was, first of all, it's two classic stories, like two dark versions of classic stories fighting each other, Pinocchio and Alice in Wonderland. And two, the minds, what I had mentioned before about the mindscapes, being able to really dig deep into how they function and how a fight could look, and the horror the fight can look like. If you've ever seen these two games, you'll know that there's a lot of really scary and abstract locations that, if done right, we could really play with.
I know you'll love Psychonauts. I know you'll love Psychonauts.
Psychonauts is also
yeah.
really good. Gilded Data is not here, though, so we don't talk about Psychonauts here.
I think a really cool thing about this matchup is just that both of these franchises and characters are very cool. Alice in Madness Returns is a very classic game, and P and Lies of P, phenomenal story.
Phenomenal
Yeah.
What I've
story.
been told.
Very
As
nice.
you can tell by my earlier thing of calling him Pinocchio, I have not yet played it. But a bunch of my friends have been like non-stop asking me to play it because it's so good. So I've heard good things.
Also, King J Gamer in chat asked what type of game Alice is from. It's a platformer, right? Or
It's an
I think
action
it's a
platform.
platformer.
Like
It's on,
hack and
I
slash.
think, the 7th generation of consoles. Xbox 360 history. Wait,
yeah, it was Xbox 360.
Did it
Uh,
never
so-
get re-released?
no, I don't think it got re-released.
That's-
It's
I'm
on
not
PC
sure.
as well. I might be wrong. I might be thinking of another game.
I've seen it on the Xbox store, but like they have 360 games on there all the time, so it's like I don't know.
That's
I own an
cool.
Xbox 360. I could probably pick up a
Um,
my PS3
uh,
so.
Yeah,
Uh,
it would definitely be interesting to see like a Soulsborne type pro tag fighting like an action platformer. I think that's like a lot of like cool different interactions you can have with both. For fighting at least. Oh, okay, new matchup.
Oh,
Aya
Parasite
versus
is on
Jill.
PC. Aya Brave versus Jill Valentine. Parasite Eve versus Resident Evil. I don't know how all three of mine got back to back. I probably should have double checked everything. But there is someone in this community who's been pushing this matchup for I think a decade now, and I agree it should be done. There's a lot you can do with this matchup. People will be mad at me at the way I would want to do it, but there's a lot you can do with this matchup. Jill's got a lot of guns, and physically she can do a lot of things. Aya has, I believe they're called psionics in her game, where she can essentially use different elemental attacks or mental attacks, and can kind of explode the screen in I believe Parasite Eve 2 or 3, I can't remember. Jill stands more of a chance than people think if you let her have her 5 stuff, where she can like teleport around like Wesker does. I know that version of Jill is a little frowned upon in the community because Resident Evil 5 isn't liked, but I like that game, and I think it would make the fight really interesting, having Jill be able to have access to all her weaponry and her like teleportation, acrobatics, while Aya has just such a big arsenal of like psionics, magic, and stuff that she could just throw at Jill at any moment.
I've seen this matchup like a lot, and it looks like really interesting. But one of the main things I see, like at least people talk about, is like how like crazy like A is. I never like seen her like. I guess is Parasite Eve like a video game as well? Is it like anime video game? Like what?
It's
Yeah,
a
it's a video game.
It's a PS1 game, the original.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
seen Paradise Eve on the PS PlayStation 3 store and on the PS Vita store. I was like, okay, that's cool.
It is
Okay,
cool.
Something in this for this matchup I've seen a lot is people say I'd like to be refuted on this because I've seen people say the matchup is good, but some people say that matchup has an issue where like Aya can just like point at someone and set their mitochondria and their cells on fire, which feels like it's hard to
That's
play
why
off of
looking
that
at
in
them.
a fight. I've also
It's
heard
so
that's not a
sad that
problem.
Steve
I don't
Jobs
know.
died from Ligma.
Well, it depends on what you give Jill, because there is ways you can argue that they would, if she had the parasite from 5, that burning her wouldn't do as much in that way because she would probably just regenerate, or that you point your hand towards her because you have to like aim in Parasite. If you point your hand towards her, she's gone now. Well, okay, now I gotta fucking pin this girl who's going all over the place down.
Dude, I just have a mental image.
That's what I'm interested in.
I'm
One
not sure
mental
how high
image
the
of just, like-
characters. I'm not sure how high the characters scale, personally. But I do know interaction-wise, there's a lot of things Jill could do to get past Aya's equipment and abilities.
Yeah, this does seem like a pretty interesting match. Like whenever at least see, I think it's kind of similar to like debate buys. Whenever you hear this matchup, it's just like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. To what you're like, oh, I kind of just like points at Jill and just says you're gone, like Dr. Manhattan or something. I'm like, dang, like
I
what
was
is our
about to say Dr. Manhattan.
Like-
I was about to say it's so sad that Steve Jobs died from Ligma.
Yeah, it's like like this. Yeah, like I don't know. That's why I'm like, dang. Like I was like, I just got some crack stuff. I remember like I think there's like I think Discord death battle between like Aya and like that girl from like I think Elfin Lied or something. And it was
Elfin
like
Lead.
Elfin Lead.
You're talking about Lucy, or no, not Lucy. Maybe you're
Don't
talking
tell me I know
about
this.
the
Don't
other
tell me I
girl.
know this.
I don't know, but like either way, like the one that fought like Carnage in the death battle was like I'm looking at her like it's a close match. It's just like, well, dang. I'm like, okay, what? I'm actually really
Aya
interested.
beats Saris
Did you say
Victoria
wood?
from Helsing, which is another kind of impressive thing because Saris is also very strong. So
Yeah, honestly, like I think I'd be just super down to like I think honestly I think both from pure aesthetics I think Parasite Eve and Resident Evil looks like they go pretty well together, and I would like
I
to
wish
see
to learn more about this Aya girl.
Yeah, exactly. Same here. Like, it'd be really interesting.
And if you let me write an analysis on her, you will. In any case.
Hey,
So
Wait, hold on. Is my audio okay?
You sound a little muffly, but it's not too bad.
Hold on, let me. Is it better?
If we don't respond to you, it's not because we don't like you. We're just like we're focused on keeping top.
We're trying. We have.
I was just making sure that it wasn't on my
We're trying
end.
to stay on topic, basically.
Yeah, we have 32
Don't worry,
matchups
I'm
to
just making
talk
sure that I could be
about.
heard.
Okay. We have 32 matchups to talk about, so that's why I'm a little bit rushy, because I want to eat. At some point today. Next we have... somebody will have to help me with this.
Not it.
Alejandro Jones and Zorro. Who's the other guy?
That is Gabriel Belmont from the... oh gosh, what's that one side series of Castlevania called?
I'm trying to think. I know this one.
It's Lords of Shadow.
Yeah, Lords of Shadow. And this will be a spoiler for a really old Castlevania game that's no longer being supported, so warning. But the main connection to this one is that both are whip wielders who find themselves corrupted by dark power and are manifested into like these beings of darkness, but are able to then overcome the dark urges within themselves and finally have peace. With Gabriel Belmont actually turning into that Castlevania's version of Dracula.
Oh.
So this would be a
Isn't
really
this like
cool
an alternate timeline where like the Belmont are vampires?
Well, kind of, because like the Belmont clan is still there. It's just the Dracula ended up being one of the Belmonts. So along with like having the vampire slayer and whatnot, he also has your standard Dracula stuff, the spells, high tier magic, being able to like enhance darkness and like biological weapons and stuff. And Alejandra, she's got the Ghost Rider stuff, penance stare, fire, whips, the motorcycle, all that jazz. This one, I am a fan of this thematically, just because unlike most of their other predecessors, with like people of Dracula and like the Ghost Riders, these two are the ones that are able to finally break free of the cycle that their characters are usually known for, and actually go back to like a normal life of peace and make amends with what they've done, rather than just, the standard Ghost Riders either, just perpetually like doing work as Ghost Riders or being trapped or turning evil and all that jazz.
I think this matchup would be really cool because we get to talk about a Ghost Rider that really isn't really talked about ever. And also, we would get to do Lord of Shadows content, and Lord of Shadows, at least the first one, is the best Castlevania game. Don't at me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's also just a really good look at, like Sherm said, obscure versions of very popular characters that aren't usually covered in these sort of things.
I like it. One of the animators suggested this one. I think primarily because he wanted to have someone with a whip fight someone with a whip, and I thought that was very wholesome.
It is a whip fight, which is fun.
But when we looked into like which Ghost Rider and which Belmont would work, and we found this one, I found it incredibly intriguing, and so I was like, hell yeah, I'm glad we found one that can work. That I'm still interested in. Any case.
That seems like a good one.
Oh, okay, this is mine. Oh, finally.
Yeah,
one
no
of mine.
Belmont.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So this one is Simon Belmont versus the Bearer of the Curse. Bearer of the Curse is the protagonist from the second Dark Souls game, and I vibe with this a lot purely because of the series combo. I think Dark Souls and Castlevania just kind of like their worlds and like mesh really well. Like World of Darkness, Monsters All About. I think it's really cool, and this is a really good matchup because it doesn't focus a lot on like specifically the fact that Simon was like he was the first guy in a castle. He wasn't like the first. It doesn't focus on the fact that he was like the protagonist of the first Castlevania game. Like, it focuses a lot on like stuff that he actually did by him, that he did like disconnected from the whole like being a Belmont thing, which I find really cool overall. There's a lot you can do with this matchup. Like, Bearer of the Curse is he's got the standard like Dark Souls kit where like got a ton of different swords, shields, bows, arrows, potions, a ton of different stuff he can constantly be pulling out. While for Simon, you can demonstrate like his skill by like using his comparatively more limited arsenal in order to play around and try and get in close in order to take out the Bearer of the Curse. While Bearer of the Curse is just continuously coming back in order to try and figure out how to beat Simon. It's really cool. That's pretty much all I got to say. It's just a cool matchup with a lot of potential. Yeah.
Damn, that was faster than I thought. I'm opening the window for the cat. Hold on.
Can we take a moment to say hi to Crystal?
She's been here the whole stream.
The whole time.
I know. Can we just say take a moment?
Crystal mentioned. Praise Crystal.
It's funny because I
Praise
think people thought
praise
that I
Crystal.
staged my cat there for that update video, but this is just how she is whenever I do anything on the computer. She's like, alright, you're gonna do that? I'm gonna lay on your back now. I'm like, alright, I guess this is my life. I guess I just have to deal.
Dude, that was my favorite part of the video, just your cat just on your back.
Yeah.
I sent him in a DM just
Who are these
the
guys?
queso, like
Yeah, so what's this one?
Oh, okay. This is another one of my.
I don't recognize these two, so I'm actually interested.
There's
Okay, yeah, so
Shinichi
this
and Mickey
is-
from Parasite, but I don't know the other guy.
Yeah, the other guy is Hyun Cha from Sweet Home. It's a webtoon. But basically, these are two high schoolers who all of a sudden get wrapped up in like a sudden biological invasion. For Shinichi, it's like a bunch of aliens came in and started taking over people in order to use them as hosts for like parasites in order to like eat, consume, and like take over the planet. While for Hyun, it's basically like this parasite that like came about one day. Basically, what it does is it kind of like seeps into your brain and figures out like what your greatest desire is. And from that, it will warp you into a monster based on said desire. So, for example, if you're like some gym bro muscle guy who wants to become the strongest guy in the world, the parasite will then take over and then turn you into like this big hulking monster that can like tear through walls and like snap people like twigs. However, it will then also morph you into a murderous monster that is then gonna go out and try and kill people. Or you could just like, yeah, or you could basically just like think, oh, I want to kill people because you're like some disgruntled office worker or whatever. Then it'll turn you into a murderous monster that can kill anything. That's basically the idea. So, and these two guys, basically, they both get infected by this, but they manage to hold on to their humanity through it, and then all of a sudden start using this parasite in order to fight back against the other parasites in order to basically try and like defend their world or just kind of like defend or just try and like survive till the next day, which I think is really cool. So throughout the fight, you can kind of like show the differences between Shinichi and Hyun and how they like manipulated the virus in order to aid them. So for Shinichi, when Migi tried to take him over, he was able to stop Migi before he was able to make it to the brain. So that Migi could only possess his arm, so now he can like use the arm as the parasite. However, for Hyun, basically due to his own willpower, he didn't succumb to the virus. However, it's like still in the back of his head, so now he kind of like is a little bit of a hybrid between like a regular person as well as like a monster. However, the virus is constantly trying to take him over. So then, like, throughout the fight, you can kind of have, like, Shinichi pushing Hyun in order to, like, force him to accept the virus more and more until eventually he goes into his final mode, which is basically he kind of, like, just become... Basically, his final wish at the end of the series is to become, like, a hero. And in doing so, he gets like this giant flesh armor as well as like a flesh spear thingy. So then he can like fight. So then the final part of the fight would basically be Shinichi having to push himself and Migi to their absolute limits in order to fight against like this guy in basically like a flesh armor who's just kind of like tearing through everything he can do. I also love the idea that, like, partway through, you could have, like, Shinichi and Hyun kind of get into, like, a Frank versus Leon situation where, like, a bunch of different parasites and, like, viral guys come in, and then you can see both, like, having to fight against the other thing, then trying to use what they learned fighting those other guys into fighting each other. However, it doesn't work because of how different they are from everyone else. Like highlight the fact that Shinichi and Migi are faster than most other like parasite guys, and Hyun, keeping his humanity, is able to keep like a much cooler head and can strategize more. So I think that's a really cool thing you can do in this fight, and it also helps that it's like really grounded. Like both are only like wall to building, if I remember correctly. So like you can. This would be like a very grounded fight between two guys who are just trying to survive to the next day, and it can get. It's really cool. I guess that's basically what I'm trying to say. It's just there's a lot of potential and a lot of like really cool thematic parallels you can show between like how they deal with the world around them and such. Yeah.
Tagline, it's really
It's a good matchup. Because I'm more familiar with the character to the left, right? What was it from Yeah, Kanisha from Parasite. I've watched him. It's pretty dope, and honestly, I think it's kind of underrated. And I've seen some of the character he gets put against. I've at least seen that dynamic. I like it. I think it advises pretty hard, and also it's nice for Shinichi to not, I don't know, get insta killed frame one by like I don't know Ken Kaneki or something. But
yeah, this is one. Yeah, one major thing this has over literally every single other Shinichi matchup is it's actually debatable. Like Shinichi just doesn't get pasted frame one, so we can actually do a lot of cool stuff with this. I really like it. It's so cool.
Next up, all right, take it away, sure.
It's not my matchup, but I do love this one a lot. I think that Chucky versus Slappy, I mean, do I really need to explain why it's a matchup? I mean, look at it. It's two most iconic
it speaks for itself.
dolls in horror. It's like
Yeah.
Goosebumps is a really fun franchise. Chucky's a really fun horror slasher. And it's just these two like dolls having a small soldier Toy Story fight where they're like just brawling. I know that like Slappy has like a bunch of magic and a bunch of way to like summon things and like warp things, and Chucky has like his own magic. I just think like this is a matchup where like the primary appeal is just these two goofy, hilarious horror Halloween antagonists just like beefing with each other. I just think this is inherently such a funny, fun crossover matchup that like I almost want to borderline say it speaks for itself.
Yeah,
I'm saying it speaks for itself.
Yeah, this one's pretty self-explanatory.
I love it.
You know, like after like I remember this is the big Chucky matchup, and everyone like it kind of like got like into the weeds, right? Where everyone's talking like this Chucky matchup, the second one, but like I think this would be a good one for us to do if we do it. I think it'd be pretty nice. I think also Slappy like probably berating Chucky for I don't know just cursing all the time. Like so you might just pull a mark like dude like cursing does not make it cool. Like relax or something. I don't know. Because Goosebumps is for kids, I guess. There's that.
You guess.
Yeah.
It is a kid's book.
They got some dark stuff in Goosebumps, man. I'm scarred.
Personally, I don't know anything about either of these characters, but as soon as it was requested and I looked it up, I was like, oh yeah, okay. I get it.
Yeah, I don't want to like skip past it, but it just feels like so obvious and self-explanatory. Like I love Chucky, I love Slappy, I want to research them, and I want them to interact and fight. Like it's what it says on the tin.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To work with, you got shows, movies. Oh,
So this is what the fuck are their names? I have a little note sheet because I didn't know these characters before this. This is one
Hanako versus Yutao.
Yeah. This is one of the animators who suggested this one. The whole premise is that they are both characters who have a large part in maintaining the balance of the living and the dead, right? They're both kind of like lighthearted and jokey people. They command spirits in a way. My cat is getting into my chips. They command spirits in a way. They can travel between like the boundaries of life and death. There's a lot of ways they can have similar interactions fighting. Again, sending spirits at each other to do different things. I believe Hu Tao, the one on the right, has Hu Tao. I think she has like a staff that has like elements or like that controls spirits or something like that. Okay, Crystal. And I don't know. There's just a lot you can do in terms of like banter potential. Location potential is something I think about a lot. Traveling between the world of the living, the world of the dead. What if one of them is trying to ferry the other person's spirit companions back to the realm of the dead, and it starts the conflict, stuff like that. There's a lot of story potential. There's a lot of thematics. Personally, I think it's the most thematic Genshin Impact matchup out there, which might not be saying much, but I think it is really interesting, even if the two characters are more modern and there isn't as much info on them as a lot of the other things we'll talk about today. But I don't think any
Genshin Impact isn't that recent. I wouldn't say Genshin.
Her character is
Sinless Zone Zero.
Her character is pretty recent though.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Dark Lord, this is yours, I believe.
Yeah,
I
this
have
is
no
mine.
idea what I'm looking at.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
neither.
This is Andrew Detmer versus Hiroshi Shigami. Chronicle versus Inuyashiki. Actually, fun fact, I learned about this matchup because of the Discord server. So like, this is proof we are listening to the matchups you suggest, and like, I am a genuine fan of this thing. Like, I think it's really cool. I'd love to do this, frankly. This is basically two normal kids who kind of like are depressed and a little bit giving up on life. However, one day they get into this alien. They get into this alien accident, and then all of a sudden gain incredible powers that they then use in order to basically try and make their lives better. However, or like make their lives more interesting. However, eventually it just turns into them like mass slaughtering people because of like how their horrible lives and how everything and how like the powers affected them as people. I really really like this matchup. There's like a lot of cool different interaction potential you can have in this fight. Like I personally love the idea of like Andrew collecting cameras throughout the fight, and then in like the finale, you can kind of see him using them to like kind of record Hero's like death. However, Hero then like uses his technology manipulation as well as like his main attack, which is basically like he can just form a gun he can form like a finger gun with his hands, point it at you, say bang, and then it's like you got shot with a real gun. So then you can. And he can even do that through like computer screens or cameras. So like, I love the idea of Hero shooting Andrew through the cameras. It's just like a really really cool interaction you can have in this fight. There's a lot of things you can do with this. Like you can have them fighting through like falling of like the debris of a building they shattered apart. You can have Andrew like use lightning in order to try and short circuit Hero because he's a robot. However, this just knocks him out, and then Hero enters like this kind of berserker form thing where like the innate systems of his robotics take over, and then just kind of like use it in order to try and like fight anything that's in front of him in order to defend him. Like this is a really cool matchup that would push both of them to their absolute limits. Because like I've been trying to think about who would win this, and I'm genuinely not sure. It's super close to the point that realistically either could win. So I would love to research this in order to like do a full deep dive into both series in order to like figure out definitively who would win, as well as give like a really cool animation to this as well. Like this is like personally, this is the matchup I want to win the poll the most. I don't. Okay.
Oh.
Stream close. Yours. Okay.
On your camera's off if you knew that.
Okay, I'm gonna continue. Okay, yeah. There's so much cool little things you can do in this fight. I love it so much. I would absolutely love to do this. I'm like a huge fan of Inuyashiki as well. It's one of my favorite animes. So like being able to like do this would genuinely just like make my year, honestly. I love this so much.
Do you think this would go as a tie?
What?
What?
I think this could be a tie.
No, it would not be a tie. Both can win, and both would definitely be going for the kill. Like, I know Andrew could like theoretically use his psychic powers in order to like crush Hero, and Hero could use his like finger guns and his bang in order to like basically to give you an idea on what the bang's like. You know Makima's like finger gun bang thing?
Oh, yeah.
It's basically just that, except more busted because you can just shoot it through cameras and shit.
As busted.
Yeah, that
Self.
is.
Wait, wasn't
Hero's
like? Oh, no, you go. Yeah.
Yeah, but Hero's got other stuff he can do. Like he has these lasers he can shoot out of his back in order to, and they're like homing. So they're not actual lasers, but whatever. But they're like homing. So then you can kind of have Andrew like flying throughout the city in order to try and lose them. There's a lot you can do with this fight.
Googleing's lasers.
I'm forcing Dark Lord to move on. I'm like, he could talk like this all day.
It's definitely a good matchup for Dark Lord. I do like it.
Yeah.
We do have a 4-minute timer, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
sorry,
try
I'm
not
sorry.
to cut people off, but then it's like,
That's
okay,
not-
well,
I think
There is a lot of matchups. It's understandable. We gotta
Yeah.
I think as soon as you hit 4 minutes, you just gotta be like, all right, man, wrap it up.
I'm sorry. I'm
Speaking
sorry.
of good matchups, Pinhead versus Tall Man, I'd say it's a pretty good matchup.
who is Tall Man?
Makes a lot of sense. He's like just some guy. He's really tall.
Tall Man is the I guess
See what happens if I take too many Benadryls?
I can kind of talk about this
Wait, that's
a
not
little bit.
I can talk about the one I submitted.
Why does like the man? Oh wait, no, you go. No, we
I
got
have to say, okay, I need a minute to talk about this. Okay, so basically, the Tall Man used to be this individual known as Jebediah Morningside, and basically he developed like a fascination with the idea of immortality. Did a bunch of research into it, tried to preserve his own life, and made a machine that allowed him to travel across dimensions. When he walked through the gate to the dimension, he went into somewhere we don't actually know. He came back and he was forever changed into the Tall Man. Kind of a parallels Pinhead, who used to be Elliot Spencer before he found the box and opened it. So you've got these individuals who were once normal men who were turned into these. Pinhead isn't really like a monster because you generally have to open the box to get him to call. The Tall Man is just kind of a big meanie head, you know?
Yeah.
it.
But this is a really good fight in terms of what they're able to do. Pinhead can obviously, as you can tell, control his chains.
Mm-hmm.
But he's able to like create explosions strong enough to, what is it? It's larger than a 100 megaton atomic bomb. He's able to melt people, turn water into ice, convert his body into pure energy, summon the dead, summon his fellow Cenobites like I think the one's just called the Lady Cenobite. They didn't give her a name. Because and the others are like Chatterer and all that. He can read the fear and sins of individuals. He's obviously just a being made out of pure energy. He's immune to pain because the Cenobite's whole thing is that they perceive pain and pleasure as one and the same. Which is why they're all messed up, you know?
Jesus.
The Tall Man has a bunch that he's able to do. Like, his main thing is controlling these, or what I can only describe as floating balls called Sentinels. And he can just send them at people. They can shoot lasers. He himself is able to create viruses, affect dreams, manipulate memories. One of the Sentinels he has is as big as buildings. He can teleport himself, communicate through people's thoughts, travel through dimensions. And perhaps the biggest fuck up here for Pinhead is that killing one Tall Man doesn't kill him permanently. There are thousands of Tall Men who exist, and as soon as you kill one, one gets replaced with another. They are like standby in like a dimension, and when you kill one, the other one comes in.
I feel like it's a Congo line of Pullman.
Literally.
Just because this was the one Paul put in, I wasn't sure if he still had his mic muted, but it looks like he doesn't. Do you have any
Oh, wait, me?
thoughts?
Yeah, I only took over because Paul was muted.
I can't tell if it's going through or not because I'm on
It
my
Oh, there we
phone.
go. We can hear you.
I can hear
There
you.
you are, buddy. Welcome
Great,
back.
okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it could go through or not because I don't use my phone mic often. So I covered some of the basics. To be completely honest, the number one reason I got into this matchup because my friend, who is a horror buff, got me more into horror in general. And Phantasm, the first one, is his favorite horror movie. So thanks to that, he got me into the franchise, which got me into the matchup itself. I think the Tall Man is a fascinating character to take a look at for versus, both from the story and especially his powers and weapons and monsters. He is one of the few horror villains who unequivocally won. In the future of the Phantasm universe, he took over the world and destroyed it. And not like blew up the planet, destroyed society, tore it all down, and destroyed it with his powers. Is just a really fascinating way to take a look at him. and just a human who became a monster, and then with both of them, be one who embraced it and the one who does it because it's what he is there to do. In that case, being Pinhead. I love the variety that this one has, and I really think it tells a strong story with it that goes into some of the more cosmological sides of horror without becoming an obnoxious field of, well, universes stack on universes and all that nonsense. It's more a cosmological, like, legacy and history of them, especially in the Hellraiser universe.
I got a little
Okay.
whiplash
Very good,
when
Matt.
Saul was explaining when he was like, he wanted to live forever, and then 2 seconds later, and so he started moving between dimensions. So I was like, hold on, what's
As you
happening?
do.
Science.
That is-
Moving between
Science is what happened, boy.
dimensions. What's the next matchup?
Yeah, next.
Oh, yep.
Ooh, all
Perfect.
right.
Cool
Is this
kid.
me? Is this a me topic?
Yes,
I
sir.
think it's-
Do you? Well, the question here is, do you know Owl House? Who am I
Yes.
fucking kidding?
It's
Uh,
everywhere. You
I
can't
was like,
escape
what?
it.
Funnily enough, this is one of my all-time favorite matchups. This is not one of my three, but I love this matchup a lot, and I can talk about it. This is basically the godchildren of both series. The Collector is from the Owl House. He was entrapped and sealed away, and he was eventually let out, and he began playing his games with all of the Boiling Isles. Similarly, the Skull Kid, after obtaining the Majora's Mask, began playing his games, quote-unquote, with all of Termina. And this is basically, like, two children having, like, reality-warping playground beef with each other. It's very fun. They'll tug of war the moon. It'll be very cool. That's
Moon.
an iconic thing both characters do. I think some interesting aspects about this fight. Both have, like, some interesting, like, army potential. Majora has all of the bosses. Like, he created all the bosses in the game, and he can just kind of summon them and use them. Collector has his, like, little star minions, but I think what's most interesting is that he has, like, most of the Owl House cast turned into puppets that he can also utilize. So we can have, like, the Owl House cast fighting off the bosses from Majora's Mask. I think that's really fun. I really like...
There you go, you go. Sorry
I
about
really
that.
like the cosmic horror vibe of this matchup because they are both children, but they are children in, like, very unnerving alien ways. Something that I think would be really cool with this matchup is that we kind of portray Collector as, like, I think we can play more into, like, the childish, non-understanding aspect of Collector by also playing into the unnerving nature of Majora. Like, we can have Collector being like, this is weird and gross what you're doing right now. Like, we can have Collector kind of having these kind of childish moments where he's like, this is very freaky what you are. I don't like you at all. You're freaking me out. Because I think Collector's at the perfect age where Majora's Mask would be very scary for you. I think that's very fun.
Majora's my favorite Zelda
And
villain, by
kids
the
these
way.
days,
So
dude.
Same.
Dude, kids like FNAF. You
Yeah.
think this is gonna scare them?
what?
You,
Yeah, when I was 12,
Kids like
was
FNAF. You
funny
think this is
scares
gonna be
me.
scary?
FNAF scares me.
I guess
Not
I
because
guess
it's
that scares me
scary,
too, dude.
because
kids are hardcore. I'll tell you.
I don't
what-
think we need to belabor the point. Yeah.
Wow. We finally
Wait,
got. We got one of mine.
oh shit! There that is. Ooh.
So,
Yeah.
so for those who don't know, I mean, you're gonna recognize one of these characters because he's one of the
recognize
stars
both
of
of
the
them.
Champions Island right now, Slender Man. And you might be thinking, Saul, are you insane? Why are you picking? Why are you putting a potential Champions Island winner on here? Because this matchup is never getting picked. Slender Man versus Oni. Basically, to explain, they are the cult classic indie horror characters who are these creatures who live in the woods and stalk their victims, brainwashing them into their like proxies almost. Also, they got really shit live action movies.
Wait, they
Like-
hey, that's not a live action movie.
Yeah, they both got really bad ones. I only
I
got
know.
one. It's
I know about this, but I
Yeah, I only got like a
I know that
Japanese one. Anyway, so these two can do like genuinely so much. For those who don't know, Slender Man has like every power under the sun. In terms of just being able to teleport, cause you to be sick, sap you away, transmute you, make you mad, cause you death. Any horror thing you can think of, from mind reading to controlling your body, creating fog, darkness, going invisible, intangible, mimicking sound itself, regenerating, traveling through dimensions, has an ability called dimension bleeding, which he's able to like it's so weird, like positive and negative feedback across the universe. Manipulate dark energy, travel through time. He's omnipresent. He can manipulate fate and causality. And you might be thinking, what the hell is going on in our Oni to make the Oni be able to stand up to that? A lot. just so much. So, in terms of what the Ao Oni itself can do, because again, there is just a lot. Wait a minute, for some reason, my PC is slowing down.
Oh no.
I know.
Isn't there like a 3D game with this guy? Well,
Yeah, there's a lot that you're able to cover with these, but in terms of what they're actually able to do, Ao Oni can, it has multiple forms. It's got like its normal forms, it's got its spider form, a human form, a zombie form, a tree form, one that's just called the God Oni, the fourth dimensional Oni. There's a bunch of ways that you can go around with this matchup in terms of what they're able to do. I think the main thing with what Ao Oni is able to do is like it can manipulate like it has stuff to do with like time manipulation and soul manipulation. Yes. Yeah, it can erase people's souls, remove them. Onis are basically immortal in nature in terms of like, as long as people are spreading the myths and rumors of Ao Oni, the Oni still manage to manifest. So even if you kill it, it can just come back. It can manipulate fate itself to mess with you. It can modify its own powers, make people scared of it, telekinesis, sleep, duplication, sealing. My idea for this matchup, I know this is sounding really high scale, but I want this to start off really small scale in terms of we follow a victim running from Slenderman. He ends up in the Ao Oni house, gets killed and brutalized by the Oni, and that's why the fight starts, you know? You could even, if you want it to make it a bit more interesting, you could have multiple victims around the house getting terrorized throughout the fight by these two as it progressively gets worse and worse for them. You can put in the Slenderman proxies that can fight for him and then fight them against the different Ao Onis, including Fuwati, who is basically just like a little shit brick. I think you can definitely do something different with Slenderman here then. I'll be honest, if he wins Champion Island, he's probably fighting Sadako. And even though this matchup can get cosmic in scale, that's not really the focus, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it would end cosmic. You would probably have the God Oni and the Asura Oni come in, because there's an Asura form, fighting Slenderman as he's using all of these powers and stuff. But I think for the majority of the fight, you can keep this really low scale and just have the two trying to tear each other apart. You can have plenty of jump scares in the video, which I think is funny. Ao Oni has plenty of those. There's a scare in Ao Oni where, like, you're supposed to, like, put this puzzle piece in, right? And as soon as you open your inventory, the person you're with has become an Ao Oni in the inventory and jumps out of you.
Oh, yeah.
isn't there a jump scare where he just eats you?
Yeah, that's how Oni's entire deal is, the fact that he ends up eating you. Like, eats you whole.
I think if you like internet eldritch horror, this is the matchup for you.
Yeah, I would love to do this. I know that this is probably not going to be the most popular option since, again, Slenderman is currently doing pretty well on the Champions Island. But hey, things can change.
Yours has better odds than mine.
All it takes is Miku, and then Slenderman's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, that's also something.
Okay.
Game.
Whose was this again? Broken Lord Rap? I believe it was
Paul.
Paul.
I think Paul.
I think it's
Yep.
Paul's.
Yeah.
Paul,
Did
take
you
a
still
head
hear?
on this.
Paul, explain yourself.
Okay. One, animated skeletons are one of my favorite things in general in media, and Brook, big shock, is one of my favorite characters in One Piece. I love his personality, his energy, and he just brings so much great potential to a fight on the table, especially with how much we talk about the idea of musical fights. But Lord Raptor comes in because of the zombies versus skeleton angle that people often discuss. And more importantly to me, I like the idea of them literally having a band off during their fight. Both of them fight with their instruments, Brooke especially, and I love the chemistry they would have together of just really trying to outdo each other musically while throwing hits. Lord Raptor can be a very fun character. I'd love to see Darkstalkers represented more in verses. And he just has a lot of really cool forms and powers and things like tentacles coming out of that hole in his belly. But he also has his sillier moments, like in the cartoon when you see him racing to get to the beach. They just have a lot of very fun energy with each other that I'd love to see come to life. And I will say, with for anyone who has the arguments of, well, where One Piece is right now, I personally don't believe Brook is a character that's going to have like a bunch of major buffs or changes as we get to what's supposed to be the end of the series at this point. I don't think. He obviously will have story beats as the series continues, but we have a full backstory for him and his motivations and the like that would work for an analysis.
Also, just for clarity's sake, I always found the this will be quick. I always found the whole idea of you can't cover One Piece because it's not done really silly, because no matter what happens, something will always come back and make whatever you said irrelevant. Naruto finishes. Okay, now we got Boruto. We got movies from like 20 years ago that finished. That okay, now we have another installment of the movie. So it's not
Who's
like
got Boruto?
I don't mean more that sense of it'll end. I mean more the we do it, and then like a month later, Brooke gets a major story arc suddenly. I don't think he is in a place right now as a character where that would suddenly happen, and we were missing a huge piece of information. I mean more the short term, not the long term.
That's true though.
Hmm.
Someone's gonna have to help me fill me in on what IB is. But Bendy versus
I played it years ago, so I can like I can't give like a general thing on what IB is. Basically, basically what the game is you're playing as this like young girl or something who goes to this art museum. However, all the people within the art museum get sucked into the paintings because all the paintings are actually alive. And now you have to find the way out with there's one other guy you meet, and Mary. However, the twist partway through the game is that Mary was never a real person. She was always just a painting, and now that the painting's alive, she wants out. And the only way she can get out is if she trades places with one of the people inside the painting. So then, like, the final choice of the game is basically: do you take Mary out with you, or do you take Mary out? Do you take the guy who you found in there out, or do you take yourself out? So it's kind of like only two people who you meet over the course of the game can make it out. So then it's a question of who do you want to let out, because the person who doesn't get out is trapped as a living painting forever.
So what can Marie do precisely? Because I feel like a lot
Basically,
more people
like,
are familiar with Bendy and what Bendy can do in his series.
Yeah. From what I remember, Mary can like use the entirety of like the painting world in order to like fight. So then she could like, again, I can't really remember everything she can do because it's again been a while. But like, I think she could like summon monsters in order to like aid her in combat. So it's kind so like this would kind of not just be like, oh, it's just Bendy versus Mary. It's like the entirety of like the ink machine verse versus everything in like the id painting verse. If you kind of get what I'm saying.
Machine versus painting.
Yeah.
Yeah, machine versus painting.
I
It's
would say it sounds really interesting. I'd definitely be down to research this.
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
I looked into IB a little bit before this. Obviously, not enough to like know exactly what Marie is, but just like gameplay and stuff. And it looked really interesting, so I'd be down to help research this one, of course.
Yeah.
It seems
it's
really
like
cool.
Yeah, it's like one of those classic RPG Maker horror games. So it'd be cool to like go back and analyze it, and like I don't know. You can also talk about like kind of like the whole creative process with creating something in order to like that's something you can go over with like the analyses and like how you can kind of like grow to hate your own creation or whatever. Like I don't know. There's a lot of cool things you can talk about analysis wise, and yeah, in general, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do.
Yeah, one other thing I want to mention real quick is that you could play a lot with like the visuals of this matchup, especially with like the environment of like, you know, the painting world and the Ink Machine universe, just like having like the background change as others get the edge of the fight. Like I think you could get really creative with the visuals with this one.
It does seem really
Super
cool.
quick. Mary has a knife, so it'd be cool to see her like attack the smaller ink creatures. Bendy summons with the knife. That'd be cool.
So does
this
Alice.
is me and Saul. This is Carnage, and that is SCP-106. They're bad guys. They're pretty rude, pretty nasty. You don't wanna be homies with these guys. If they invite you out, politely decline. They're very they're very goopy, and they're goopy in a bad way. Don't get their goop on you. That'll be bad for you. It'll hurt and it'll be painful. I think this would be a cool fight because then one of them dies, and that'd be good for the world at large for one of these to no longer exist. 106 is a pretty cool, probably one of my favorite SCPs. I like how he basically, in a way, he represents like a danger that you can't contain forever. Like it's eventually gonna get out, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. So he represents the fear of you are never safe, and this is eventually gonna go bad for you. And Carnage is hilarious. He's a really funny bad guy. They can never really kill him because he's a symbiote, and symbiotes are hard to kill. And he's really cool. I think this match will be really fun because I want to cover Carnage, and I want to cover 106. And I think the debate's interesting. I think they're very hard to kill. They're kind of both immortal due to regeneration. So I think it'd be cool to see like which of their hacks would be more effective at taking down the other one. I also just think that I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, that's the matchup.
I'll talk a little bit. So, I guess we didn't really go into what's the point of this matchup.
Oh yeah, right. And also athletics.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why are we doing
We
this?
probably should have started with that idea. But basically, the kind of premise is that they are insane, crazy individuals who, depending on the 106 continuity, came into contact with something that made them even fucking worse. The entire dynamic is Carnage basically just trying to play off of 106's main ability, which is sending people into his pocket dimension. The pocket dimension is just a mini world that 106 can control and manipulate and release you. He loves playing catch and release, you know? But it's not like it's not like Carnage is going down without a fight. Carnage is capable of obviously regenerating from even just a cell from his body. So he's very hard to put down. He can manipulate his size to like molecular levels. He's obviously a spider individual, so he has webbing and stuff. He can fly, manipulate technology, duplicate himself, manipulate people's minds by like connecting his tendrils to their brain and driving them insane. But perhaps the most interesting thing to me about this matchup is Dark Carnage. So, for people who don't know, because they might have only seen the Death Battle, where Dark Carnage wasn't actually a thing. Basically, when a symbiote dragon died during all of that event, the piece was collected, and a cult managed to steal it and bonded it with the corpse of Cletus Cassidy, who is Carnage. And you can imagine what happened when you get symbiote dragon powers. He is far more powerful, has far more control over his powers, and has access to something called the Spire, which is basically the nexus of his hive, constructed from symbiote matter himself, which allows him to send avatars out to fight people. It's a very Dark Carnage is so powerful that he killed Bruce Banner.
Jesus
Killed
Christ.
So a lot of the dynamic would be Carnage trying to survive the horrors of the pocket dimension, only to get the Dark Carnage transformation and just start breaking down the different walls and layers of the pocket dimension, which would really piss 106 off. He's a character who hates being on the back foot. When 173 snapped his neck for a bit, he just melted the thing down until it was nothing because he was just pissed off it kept on snapping his neck. It's a very fun matchup between these two very insane individuals, but 106 is an individual who's he can't really take what he dishes out. As soon as he's backed into a corner, he just can't do anything back. Also, for those wondering, 106 doesn't just he has other stuff that he's able to do outside of just that kind of pocket dimension stuff, you know?
Yeah, he can do a whole bunch of reality warping. He's
Yeah.
a very strong, very versatile
He can-
guy.
he can
likes
make
to
himself-
summon barbed wire to tear people apart and control it, kind of like how a lot of characters control chains. He can just summon World War I soldiers just to shoot people.
Yeah, he's able to create
Just do a firing
portals.
squad on Carnage.
He has full control over the perception of the pocket dimension, prevent people from dying. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do, especially playing into their just pure psychopathic tendencies.
At first, when someone sent me this thumbnail, I was like, why is he fight? I don't know what this render of this SCP is from, but
I think that
it
that's
reminded
pretty
me of Skibbity Toilet, so I was a little like, what the fuck is
Oh
that?
no.
yeah.
Why would you say that?
I think they were both. Yeah, they were, okay.
Here we go, Sherm, me and you.
Luz versus Akko. Luz, the human, versus Akko, I assume is also a human. This
Correct.
is a very fun fight. Owl House and Little Witch Academia are both very fun shows. They are the humans that are unable to do magic for various reasons, but with optimism and perseverance are able to figure it out and make it work. They eventually become some of the most prolific magic users in the world. The big appeal for this, for me, is just I really like Owl House, and Little Witch Academia is really cool, and I would like to cover a matchup that covers both in a good way. I think thematically it's kind of, you get what it's going for on the tin. It makes a lot of sense. And I think the magic fight would be very good. If you like Little Witch Academia, if you like Owl House, vote for this one. It's a good matchup. I like it a lot.
We talked about it a lot on the Halloween fan battle cast that I shilled before. But it would be really interesting to see the glyphs versus the transformation magic, and then have it escalate into Luz's final form and Akko's. Either she has magic later in the series that she can affect on a worldwide scale. Not sure how high Owl House goes, but I'm pretty sure it's past world. And then she has a giant mech as well that I would love to implement into the fight.
That'd be
so... Crystal.
Fireball.
Anyway, let's move on so you guys can say something while I take care of my cat making a mess. This next one is Paul.
Second for the Doom Patrol, the Rebecca, right?
So obviously we talked
Ooh.
obviously we talked a little about Herbert before, but this is legitimately my favorite form personally. This is Herbert West versus Dr. Griffin, better known as the Invisible Man. These two are some of the most interesting mad scientists in horror film history, both spawning from very different but still iconic periods of time. They allowed their experiments to not only go too far with others, but truly ruin themselves in the process. Griffin's insanity, both in the novel and especially in the film's adaptations, was born from his invisibility, freak, reaching a breaking point as he slowly became more and more unhinged and out of control, despite claiming he was in control with his newfound power and gift. This, I think, plays very well with Herbert, as his superiority complex comes into play very much when dealing with others who berate him for what he has done and think him merely an insane madman. I really like the idea of with this matchup, well, it plays into the monsters of Reanimator well, it more plays into Herbert on an intelligence level and really has to confront him with someone on equal footing with him intelligent wise. The difference of someone who can sneak around in the shadows, easily catch him off guard. Griffin gets a slight strength boost after taking the serum. He has been known to do things like easily kill people by strangling them. He beat up a group of people trying to mug him. He gets slightly stronger and also carries a revolver, which both of them have. So I like the idea of a matchup, especially one like this with such supernatural and weird powers, where it literally comes down to who can use a gun better just to get an opening. Like literally the threat of something as simple as a revolver in a versus show is an interesting novelty to me. I think it really adds a lot to it. And I think the Invisible Man in general is one of the coolest Universal monsters. He has a great design, both with the mask on and off, and would be really fun to try and write these two together.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I heard everything.
Guys, we've got more than 4 minutes. He's back.
Keep going.
Keep going. Running over the clock.
I have I didn't have time to eat before this cast started, so I had a little bag of popcorn, and while I was transitioning to this, my cat knocked it onto the floor.
Oh no!
So I was like, well, all right, that's fine.
Oh, that's a shame. I'm sorry to hear that.
Hey, that's rip right there.
Ooh.
All right.
If I had a nickel every time I see a Darkstalkers match, I probably have a lot.
Or
Yeah,
even Darkstalkers more attention than Capcom does. It's crazy.
We have
Yeah,
about
it's
as many
almost like-
entries as there are Darkstalkers games.
Depends on how many you count for like Darkstalkers.
I'm getting sad. Let's talk about the matchup.
Yeah. All right. This is Morgan versus Aukrid. Morgan is obviously the face of Darkstalkers, and Aukrid is the face of... Oh, I forget what the visual novel is, but she's more commonly known for her appearances in the Melty Blood fighting games. And the connections are, both of them are part of royal monster families, Morgan being a succubus and Aukrid being a vampire. They are the heiresses to their royal families and are set to take over. And they are also just the faces of their series and very popular in their fighting games, and are more popularly, or more infamously, depending on what you say, are more famous for their appearances in other games than their own. So Morgan is basically face of Capcom crossovers. She has more merchandise than Darkstalkers in general, and Aukrid is more from Melty Blood, and not many people know she actually comes from a visual novel game first.
Tsukihime, by the way.
Yeah, Yukihime.
I believe it's...
Is it? But yeah, I think this would just
I
be
said you mean...
It's
yeah.
Tsukihime. I double checked. Whatever.
Yeah.
Continue.
Admittedly, my knowledge of Yukihime and Melty Blood is not as much as Darkstalkers, but just from what I know, this would be a really fun one to go, just because of both of their kind of like aristocratic noble natures would make for interesting fight, especially since, you know, both of them are like demons versus vampires. You also got that appeal going on. But yeah. Honestly, this one's mostly fueled by vibes for me, but they are just like the best ones for both of them, and I love Morgan and I love Darkstalkers, so...
I think all three of the matchups we have here are probably the best Darkstalkers matchups, just saying.
There is one other
Dude, I say that?
matchup I
No,
like.
I didn't say that.
I did, sorry. I was wrong.
Well, here it is. Here's the one.
That is
These
job time.
matchups suck!
He sounded like he fucked up, like he forgot to mute the mic. These matchups suck. Oh.
I just said.
Get it out of here.
All right, Jobber, time to pop off.
This one for I feel like I'm pretty sure.
Time for JoJo fans. Let's go, JoJo fans.
JoJo fast. For this one, I think I have talked about this one before on stream. I think we talked. I'll make this one quick. Rod Sterling versus Rohan Kishibe. Okay, so what is the deal with this matchup? Okay, basically both are like reality warping author circuits who narrate narrate stories about the folly of man, right? And also, I mean, once again, they're both pretty much literally author inserts. Araki denies it, but we all know it's true. And Thus Spoke Rohan, the series, is literally based off of the Twilight Zone. So the reason why I like this matchup is because Rohan is a very unconventional fighter, to say the least. I think Rohan only works in, I guess, scenario-based fights rather than like a direct fight where it's like his ability is so like overpowered. Like it gets to the point where it's like, well, let's say he just turns you into a book if you're close range, and then he writes you cannot attack Rohan, and also if it's like I guess different battle scenario, you just write you'll also off yourself, right?
There's also the fact that he thinks like a protagonist. It's just like, what would a protagonist do?
That too, right? It's like, and this is just saying he does frame one, right? Especially if it's a long range character. How's Rohan going to turn someone into a book long range? Easy. He whips out his manuscript. They look at it. They just turn into a book. They get mobilized. They walk up to him and just rinse, repeat. There's the same order, right? It's like, okay, and also he's also one of the fastest JoJo characters, bro. Like this dude, it'd be really interesting to go over in the episode, like for the theaters. Like Rohan is consistently one of the fastest characters in the verse. This dude. He pretty much was blitzing everybody in part 4, and like he has no anti-speed feats that I know of. Like if anything, he keeps getting faster because in part 6, this dude was able to keep up with like Maiden Heaven's time acceleration when like no one else could. So I'm just saying that's pretty insane for a character, right? And his ability of Heaven's Door being able to write in commands at anybody, right? Literally defying like the rules of reality, so much so that like one of the craziest, like I'll give you like 2 of the craziest things I think I've seen him do with this ability off the top of my head. Like the first one is it's an established rule in JoJo's that you cannot like basically if you harm or destroy a stand, the user goes with it too because that's their spirit, right? Rohan with his like Heaven's Door, he can literally just rewrite the rules of reality. He can write into a stand like user that, hey, you'll no longer be able to do this thing, and also your stand will be destroyed without harming you, right? And that rule would have like 100% like worked. Like Rohan's like very confident in that. So, and another thing is like y'all know Gojo's Infinity, right? Like unlimited void, right? Like infinite information. Rohan got hit with that in his Thus Spoke Rohan series, right? Like he got hit with infinite information flooding into his mind. So what does this guy do? While the information is flooding into his mind, he writes into himself, forget. And he also writes on words on his hands saying, rub these words on your face. Like as he's like, has amnesia, he rubs words on his face and he just is able to remember everything except of course the infinite memories, right? He has a lot of crazy hacks to deal with, right? Like that he can use at his disposal. But Rohan's more of figuring out the situation and basically maneuvering his way around scenarios, especially against godlike characters, because he just goes in his Thus Spoke Rohan series, he just goes up against gods. And what better scenario to put him in than the Twilight Zone scenarios itself, right? Where his abilities like that would normally just grant him an instant win against any regular opponent. Like I don't know, you could put him against like I guess let's just put Josuke in there.
Pretty much Rohan versus the Twilight Zone.
Yes, it's a Rohan. It's a Rohan versus the Twilight Zone. I mean, when we look at Rod Sterling, he is essentially, at least from a casual standpoint, like if you ask a casual or just show a casual like the Rod Sterling, he's basically
he's the face of Twilight Zone.
Exactly. It's basically you're just saying the same thing. When you say Rod Sterling, you're just essentially saying the Twilight Zone. If you're saying Twilight Zone, you're essentially saying Rod Sterling because that's the first thing pops into people's minds. Right?
I have a question real quick before we get farther. Rod Sterling, is he actually... I've seen the Twilight Zone, so this is a legit question. Is he actually the Twilight Zone, or is he just the narrator? I've never seen him inserted into a story, so I'm genuinely curious.
He is a narrator, but he also can insert himself into stories. Like, he can choose to be seen and choose to be heard and seen by other people as well, and all that type of stuff. He just travels to different scenarios within the Twilight Zone. But I imagine for, like, this episode, when we put Rohan into these Twilight Zone scenarios, it basically... there'd be 2 things that we'd have to like the 2 things Rohan needs to do in order to win this episode. The first is be able to erase like Rod Sterling, which is 100% possible within the Twilight Zone and to accomplish by normal people or a normal person. And the second thing is for Rohan to escape the Twilight Zone, which is another thing that's completely accomplishable by regular people, like in the Twilight Zone, essentially. And so let's say Ron uses his ability on like a Rod Sterling, and he's like, okay, he writes into Rod Sterling, you cannot harm Rohan Kishibe. Well, that rule is useless because I mean Rod wasn't going to do that in the first place, right? And the scenarios you can put like Rohan in for the Twilight Zone in this episode that he has to like work around and figure his way. It's basically Rohan figuring out what the Twilight Zone is essentially and how to escape it. Because Rohan, he's a very smart character. He's going to recognize that I think he's a bit of similar scenario where we recognize something more is going on with the world around him, essentially, that he has to figure out himself, which is just his character, to write things for his mind, kind of find more inspiration for it, right? And so the scenarios you can put him in, it could literally be anything. Like, for example, like how about this? The main Twilight Zone scenario that Rohan is put in for this episode is that Rohan he goes out and looks for things he tries to find other things for inspiration for his work. So what if in the Twilight Zone, the creature or whatever he's up against, or the scenario he's up against, is finding inspiration from him instead, right? It's a flip instead, right? And so one of the biggest ways to escape the Twilight Zone, I'm not even joking, is literally imagination. If Rohan could figure that out, that I know it's kind of, I mean, maybe it's a little cliche, but
That man probably has the biggest imagination of all.
Yeah, so like it basically he has to figure out imagination is the key to escape the Twilight Zone. That is how other characters have escaped it, and it's just up to Rohan to like basically figure that out. But if he can't, right, I guess I imagine an ending where let's say if, like I guess Rod Sterling / the Twilight Zone wins, like Ron's just like stuck there and he eventually succumbs to the Twilight Zone, probably dies. Depends on how you want to do it. If I do death by scenario, just like he's like, well, I'm cooked, right? And then like basically the whole thing zooms out to a comic book, or no, not a comic book, a manga, right? Which is like it's called Thus Spoke the Twilight Zone, where like Rohan's like, I'm trapped, right? Kind of like the whole like Superman Zod movie thing, right? And like what was it? Rod Sterling is just sitting on his like sofa, like reading this manga. He closes it, right? And he's like, I think I forgot one of y'all gave the idea about this, what the Rod Sterling wanted to say, right? Which is like he says, oh, how uninspired, and he just like then he throws tosses the book into the fireplace with the burns, right? That's if like
yes. I love that line so much.
Yep. And if like Rohan wins, like it could have him like kind of escaping the Twilight Zone, kind of similar to how he escaped the Mutabe Hill, right? Where he walks away and Rohan gives his monologue about a short monologue about what just happened, right? And he doesn't like want to like anger, like let's say the Twilight Zone, or like the Twilight Zone is very interesting, but he ends it off with his own narration being, "Thus spoke the Twilight Zone," right? As he has more new inspiration for, I guess, his manga to write now.
We know what we're naming the album.
Yeah.
Let's move on. If anyone knows anything about Jobber, by the way, as soon as he sees an idea he likes, he immediately has an entire story written in his head, and he can't wait to tell you about it. And the reason he thought that we had talked about this on Cast before is because this came up, and he popped off for like an hour of all the ideas he had for it, just out of nowhere, and we were like, all right, well, we gotta go eat dinner, Jumper. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah, like it's a funny match, but also just look at that thumbnail though. Like imagine like a casual like because I think I've seen like let's say the Death Bell Crew's reaction to like their banter. It just like incites the reaction. What the fuck am I looking at? Rod Sterling, Rod, what is going on? But yeah, anyways, let's do this next match here.
Yeah,
Holidays.
This is Saul right now. I need Saul.
This was also one of normal missions, so let me give the thing he gave.
Okay.
Sam versus Krampus. Shadow whisking past your window, a creak downstairs. Is it a merry surprise or a spookish delight? Halloween and Christmas face off as these mysterious entities bring punishment to those who disrespect their traditions. Best to watch out tonight.
And now it's Saul's turn.
Fuck ass PC.
Yeah.
Anyway. Alright.
I don't know these characters.
Okay. So basically, Sam
let me switch out.
is from the hit movie Trick or Treat. Not hit movie, nobody really cares. And Krampus is from the hit movie Krampus. Again, nobody really cares. So Sam he's been in a few things, but he's a seemingly innocent trick-or-treater that is actually a demonic pumpkin creature who is like the enforcer for the rules and traditions of Halloween. Like, if you break those rules, you get fucked up. Krampus is the same way, where if you don't believe in Santa, like basically the kid in the movie is like, he has a bunch of a shit family. He's like, fuck Santa, rips up the pieces of paper, lets it go, and calls Krampus to his house. It's very interesting matchup actually. Like Krampus has his own little army that he sends. He has like a giant Jack-in-the-Box that eats you whole. He has little elf soldiers. Probably my favorite is he has these little gingerbread men who like act as like little toy soldiers fighting against you. It's really funny. And the people who are quote killed, they aren't killed. They're dragged into like Krampus's own wherever his workshop is and put into like a mini snow globe of like Forever Christmas, you know, because they messed with it. Sam himself has a bunch of different powers. He's able to summon the dead, which leads to an army battle. He can teleport around, regenerate. Like, he got shot in the head and was able to regenerate from it. He can possess and control people, telekinetically control people. Like, one of the people he ends up killing is, like, someone who, like, broke a pumpkin, you know?
That's all they gotta do.
Yeah, it's basically don't piss off the entities of these two respective holidays, otherwise they're gonna come for you, you know?
It's kind of cool concept though. It's like Dracula versus Santa Claus, but like good.
I will not let you slander versus Santa Claus in front of me. But yeah, he like one of the things he does is like if you don't give candy to people, Sam ends up like killing you. He also like killed a dog. I'm like, fuck that kid. It's an interesting matchup since Sam's win con is all about killing the other one, while Krampus doesn't really kill people, he captures them, you know?
Yeah. In this context, though, capturing would still be a win.
Yeah, you can't, like, you're also, like, shrunk down to, like, the size of a snow globe to fit inside of it, so there's no way that Sam could realistically do anything once he's shrunk down. I think it's fun.
I think it sounds fun. Oh,
okay.
Last one for Normal. What did Normal say?
Okay, hold on. Let me pull up the thing. Okay, here we go. Spooky versus Malik. In a cryptic maze of monsters and demons, these spiritual ringleaders aim to send shivers down your spine and spread terror through their halls, adding yet another soul to their growing forces. Be sure to always look over your shoulder, and most importantly, never stop running.
I am quite familiar with Dark Deception.
So basically, to explain, from what I know, I don't really know a lot about Spooky Jumpscares Mansion, but I know a lot about Dark Deception, so I might get a bit of Spooky wrong. But basically, the idea of them is that they're both, again, like Normal said in his little thing, ringleaders of these kind of, like Spooky has her mansion that she's trying to scare people with. And Lord Malik is a
demon overlord that runs the show. He has a thing against you specifically.
Yeah. And this one's really interesting. The main appeal here is that they both
it's a rogues gallery of people.
Yes.
Of creatures of all types.
Yes.
My favorite are the monkeys. They're funny.
As I was about to say, so they themselves are capable of doing different things. From what I know, Spooky has a plethora of abilities she's able to use. I believe the main thing is that, you know, she's a ghost. So that kind of makes her hard to hit.
Doesn't Malik have like a ghost form as well?
Yeah, he has
when he's after you?
Yes. Anyway, as I was about to say again,
I think Malik's more hands-on.
Yes, Malik is more hands-on. in terms of what they're able to do with their armies, which is kind of like the main thing, Spooky has her specimens, and the specimen comes in all different types of sizes. You have Ben the Merchant, who works like a 173. Turn your back on it, and it boop, stabs you. Dear Lord, who can like absorb its victims. Food demons, paranormal structures, and even individuals from other games, including White-Faced from I'm Scared. Otto the Otter, who is a fucking FNAF animatronic. I'm not even joking. She has Lisa, like body bag, security guards, a giant crying baby in her head. She has a specimen that kind of may or may not put like dead babies inside of you.
What?
Like grows babies inside of you. It's yeah. It's like a creature. It's a creature that releases spores that like when you breathe them in, you start like growing.
Male
and evolving
pregnant. Male
fetuses.
pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
Technically, this is both an MPreg and also a transgender matchup because Malik is canonically trans.
Oh, okay then. Okay. All right.
Oh, impressive.
Yeah. So Malik used to be a female demon called Erishkal, who was the goddess of the underworld, who then changed their body to become Malik. Malik's army
How have I never heard of these characters before in my life?
Spooky Jumpscare Mansion is very popular. Dark Deception, not so really.
Yes.
But in terms of what Malik has on their side, again, we talked about the monkeys, who are these murder monkeys.
Monkeys, you got statues, you got that girl.
Yeah,
the Joy Crew.
like, again, we've been angel statues. Agatha, who is a little child who can teleport around. Titan Watchers.
Mama Bear?
Yes. Titan Watchers, who are giant statues. Huggy Wuggy himself.
What?
Basically,
Isn't that like a... What was
basically in
Multiplayer
Dark Deception, Monsters and Mortals, which is a spin-off game. There's a lot of collaborations with other franchises, including stuff like Silent Hill, and so there's like Pyramid Head is here. Do you remember Yandere Simulator? We can have that girl in the fight.
No.
No.
Huggy Wuggy Bobby Blue.
Canceling this. Get off the pole.
You know the Roblox game Dolls? Those enemies are here.
I think Monsters and Mortals is a huge stretch for this.
If we're doing this, we're probably going to stick with the Dark Deception main roster.
I mean, like, for the fight, yeah, but I feel like you would have... Like, Monsters and Mortals, I think, is fine to use. You can't really argue with it.
We can worry about what to use if it wins the poll. So we are moving on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, this is Jobber one.
Thatcher McCready. This one, okay, hold on. God dang it. Every time with this one, I don't have my stuff out for it. It's not the way I'm like completely... Because I like to go to the connections, at least for it to make full sense, you know, but...
So
like,
firstly, who are these characters, first of all?
Alright, so first, Thatcher... Okay, so Lieutenant Thatcher Davis, he is from the Mandela catalog. One of, I think, the most popular analog horror, like, on YouTube, I believe. At least modern day. And RJ McCready is from The Thing, the biggest, like, coolest horror movie, okay? It's like, it's really cool. So, essentially, the gist behind this matchup is that they're both paranoid, distressing, like, insomniac horror protagonists in a series where the main enemy is shapeshifters. They're, like, replacing people. They have iconic descriptions of what these shapeshifters, like, are on shore. Like, you know, Mandela Catalog describes it like, you're not the real you, or alternates, while The Thing describes them as a perfect imitation. Like, you know, Thatcher and McCready's stories, they take place on very isolated parts of the globe, like Mandela County, Thatcher, and like Antarctica for Mac, right? The shapeshifters they fight are otherworldly and stuff like that, and like have the potential like to end the world. They spread to more popular areas of the globe. You know, once again, like alternates and things have existed on Earth for like, you know, many years essentially, and during their existence, during their like many years of existence, essentially. Well, sorry, but something prevented them from like spreading classical during their many years of existence. But anyways, both series and protagonists have like ways of telling if a person is not not human, essentially. And once again, Ultimates and Thing's main goal is to eradicate and assimilate all of humanity. Now, both Thatcher and Mac have like strong resolves to completely eradicate the creatures they face, no matter what happens to them, essentially. And both series have you questioning if this is one of the coolest things is that both series have you questioning if like the protagonists we've been following are like even real / human, which I think is like really cool, like a really cool thing to do. Essentially, like if I want to go like more detail, like for example, an alternate turned into Thatcher, and it's up to the viewer to decide and figure out whether like whenever like Thatcher appears on screen, if that's the real him, essentially. And then the thing's famous ending leaves everything very open to interpretation. And one of the main things I would discuss between fans of the movie is like whether Mac was like the thing the whole time or not. It's one of the main popular theories about like the end of the film. And this one like this like a final similarity, but it's also contrast that both like deciding to like save everything, like both deciding not to save like everyone, right? Someone need to be hidden away. Well, Thatcher. The contrast is Thatcher locked himself away, while Mac locked away, Doc, right? But I think this could be a really nice and grounded like horror fight between just like two like one's horror protagonists. We usually always see the horror monsters like going up against each other, but I mean the horror monsters are nothing without the characters they play off of, right? So at least that's why I like the thing. I think the characters that the thing interacts with are very like a lot more interesting than the creature itself. Because if this is the thing by itself, no humans, that'd be kind of boring, right? But I could imagine this fight literally just starts off with like, let's say alternates and like things kind of going ham, right? No one knows who's who essentially, and alternates and things are just kind of causing chaos. And Thatcher and Mac obviously do not trust each other. This matchup is like really just built on just distrust and like horror essentially. And during this fight, you could like have like slight hints that like maybe Thatcher's not really human. Same with Mac, right? And you could also have them like running into their respective horror monsters, as you can even get an idea like maybe they're not like human to survive, like something like I don't know. Basically, you got like a thing back. Oh, I don't know. Like you're not human, or Thatcher, or let's say an alternate telling that like McCready that you're not the real you, right? And Mac's like, man, shut up, bro. Like they're just trying to mess with you, right? But
so essentially, just because we're reaching the 4-minute mark, essentially it's a fight of distrust and choice between the two characters, right? So it's like you said, sacrifices have to be made, stuff like that. So it's about what is real, what can you trust, and who would realistically make it out on top by the end.
Exactly, in the ending, like because what's the thing with that idea, right? Like how you can't trust, like the match, like the fight could just be really just insanely, just mess with your mind, just really be like straight up like super like horror, right? And the ending, which like whoever's like the loser, it would reveal like one of the two were like an alternate or a thing the entire time. And even like when the winner wins, right? You're not even sure if the winner is even real himself still. Once again, because the whole fight is like hinting at the conveniences and things about the two that just like aren't right, but you can never like just be too sure. But I also like the ending of this fight being kind of like a downer ending where it's like, well, the winner wins, but like, let's say for example, let's say Thatcher wins, McCready was a thing the entire time. All of a sudden, like Thatcher's out like blown outside the hospital, right, or whatever, and like he's sitting in the snow, he's gonna probably freeze to death, right? But he sees this bottle of J&B, which is the alcohol that McCready was drinking before he sat it down, and like went to the hospital, right, to encounter Thatcher, right? So Thatcher takes a drink of it, and then we hear the thing music will go dun dun, because how the thing assimilates people is through like DNA and stuff like that. And since the thing's DNA is in that bottle because McCready drank it, he was a thing. And so Thatcher doesn't even know it, but he's going to turn into a thing essentially. But if McCready wins, right, similar idea, but obviously there's no J&B here, but basically you would just see like McCready would see in the distance, like it looks like some type of angel, like, but you can't see its face, right? And it's descending closer to him, right? And as it's going closer, like McCready's eyes just widen in horror, and we just cut to black. and it's basically how implied that like Gabriel like got his ass pretty much, right? But I don't know. I think it'd be really cool to go over. And also one more thing, just like the McCready for Power Skill McCready, right? It'd be interesting, to be like, well, the best feat in the thing, right, is that huge explosion that McCready miraculously survives. But it's also a question of, well, would he even scale to like? It's like if we believe that he's actually a thing, if we go to that theory, then McCready wouldn't scale to it. That's a feat for the thing, right? So it'd be like a genuine debate. It's like, well, is McCready like the figure that would that your like? Let's say if would McCready lose with or without this feat, you know? But anyways, that's all I got for y'all. It's really cool to talk
And
about.
if you want to see a potential setup to the fight, there is a storyboard, I think, on Jobber Godot's channel. So
Right, I could probably link it in chat for those.
yeah, do it. But it seems cool. Sorry, just trying to get this list done today. So
Oh yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, right. Let me quickly handle this. I will. Don't be afraid to cut me off if I get over the phone. Okay, so basically,
you could always be like Jobber, and when I say, "Hey, we are at 4 minutes," talk for another.
yeah,
2.
go
No,
into
I'm
like
kidding.
more.
I'm kidding.
So basically, these are amalgamations created from multiple individuals who were born in places that were meant to be happy and cheerful, but ended up being places of great tragedy. Who specifically are around one man, William Afton, obviously, and then Otto Stamper for the Dredge. The idea of this is really cool. It's one of my most wanted to do for this show. A close quarters cramp horror fight within the sister location just really appeals to me personally. Ennard is the amalgamation of the Funtime animatronics, so Ballora, Foxy, Baby, and Freddy. Ennard can do like a couple of different things, including just like there's not a lot that Ennard can do, but it's like being able to climb over different places, being able to like be really stealthy, overpower individuals, mimic voices. There's a bunch of different features that the Funtimes have that aren't really super combat applicable, but are interesting to look at. The Dredge is a fear-given manifest. To give a brief explanation, because not many people might know about the Dredge, there was this place called the Garden of Joy. Otto Stamper went there, basically made a cult, and through what is basically the entity's willpower and the dark thoughts that Otto was trying to prevent, the Dredge was created. The Dredge's main popular power is being able to teleport to these lockers, so you can have moments of just the Dredge disappearing and Ennard not knowing where it is until it pops out of a locker and starts slashing at it because it has a big a big scythe for an arm, which is really cool. As mistrust and darkness builds up, the Dredge gets like a buff to teleportation and stuff. It can pull out multiple different like screwdrivers and weapons from its you see just below in the thumbnail is like a void. It's like there's an incorporeal void that the Dredge can like pull you into with like multiple hands that shoot out. So I think this would be a very interesting battle. I just love the idea of how close quarters and tense this fight can get, you know?
So we would make it specifically claustrophobic.
You would make it horribly claustrophobic. Like
we locked them in a closet. Let's do it.
You wouldn't get a space to breathe in this, and I think it would be really fun. This is the one that I want to win the tournament because I have so many good ideas for it. Ow. There you go.
And he did it in 3.5 minutes. No, I'm kidding. Oh,
he skipped
mine.
He skipped
mine.
No, I went forward 2 and then went back 1. So.
Oh, so
no,
it's me again.
Yep.
Okay.
Round 2. Buddy.
So for those who don't know, because the left character, the render is a bit weird. This is Am from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream versus Calypso from Twisted Metal. For those who don't know the thematics behind this matchup, the idea is that they're the remnants of humanity who have become monstrous forms, taking the roles of masters of their games, who play around and see life as minuscule, torturing the protagonists, making them fight for their lives, and making the earth under their control. Very, very weird. So the entire premise of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is that Arm is this robot who fired a bunch of nukes, killed everyone, and now there are 5 remaining humans. Arm's powers are very weird and esoteric in nature, and that's one of the reasons why I want this to win, because researching Arm is cool. Arm has the short story and the games and stuff, but it's capable of causing pain in individuals by like making fire literally spout from your eyes.
Oh my god.
It can create duplications of individuals. It can slow down people's perception of time and reality, overload their sense of smell. It can send people into mindscapes. It's like debatable if they're mindscapes or not. That's kind of the big thing. It can heal people and keep people alive through the torment. Manipulate your senses, like give people radiation scars. And Calypso is a wish master. So, as you might imagine, Calypso has a bunch of different powers from just wish granting. Calypso doesn't really have to grant wishes if he wants to, but they aren't really bound by power, but he's very monkey's paw with them. These guys wish to fly. Calypso's like, okay. They jump off a building and they die, and Calypso is holding 2 fucking plane tickets. He is a troll and an arsehole with a bunch of a variety of powers. Summoning people, creating creatures, which is something that also Arm can do. Oh, I forgot to say, iconically, Arm made Ted, the protagonist, into this this worm creature that can't die and has no mouth but must scream. Calypso can teleport, BFR, send you through dimensions, transmute people, manipulate your age. A lot of this stuff, like sleep manipulation, it's really figuring out what can Calypso actually do to Arm, because Arm is the entire planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Arm's code exists within the entire planet, and actually getting rid of Arm is a lot more complicated than you think, because inside his head exists these 3 different versions. Now, saying that, I do think Calypso kind of wins. And there's a lot of good story potential here that you can have. I've always liked this idea of having this from the position of Ted. So as he's this unfeeling, not unfeeling, but kind of horrible worm creature, he sees Calypso manifest into this reality. And Calypso is very much just kind of nonchalant about it. He's like, ooh, another destroyed reality. And Arm is pissed off because there's another human survivor, and that's how the fight starts. But I love the ending where Arm is a very complex character, but one of the major things is he hates being a computer system. He kind of, as much as he hates humans, he kind of also wishes he was one at the same time. So you can have the ending where Calypso, backed into a corner per se, offers Arm a deal. And Arm, the conniving little bastard, takes it and has his one wish to either become human, get something similar to Calypso's powers in a human body. And Calypso gives him that. Arm gets to experience that sense of humanity for a few seconds and is fucking killed on the spot by Calypso being like, you said you wanted to be a human, but you didn't say for how long. Also, Calypso has a very showmanship nature where he's like, thank you for watching Twisted Metal. So having the outro to the Nebula Theatre, he's a perfect character for it because he's a fucking show stealer. I love this one. It's really fun. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is a really good short novel, a fantastic audiobook, and a shit game.
Is that what this render is from?
I don't remember where this render is from. It gets used a lot.
I was gonna say, because last time I asked, you guys were like, "Oh, there's really no he doesn't really have an appearance. It's just the text." And I was like, I feel lied to now.
Again, he's like everything. So it's very interesting. I would love to do this.
It sounds cool. Yeah. Now we're on to
all right, here it is. Here I am, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, come all, because this is very interesting to say the least, but also the most unknown. If you are not a person that is into the indie stuff and also really old horror stuff, Illbleed is a very unknown game that resides in the Dreamcast, and we all know how that went. But I want to take one of those games back out of the grave and bring it onto here. So here it is. Mara Forest versus Erico Chrissy. Crow Country versus Illbleed. Now, this is probably one of the most interesting ones for me. This was originally going to be on my show. Yes, I was going to have a show. It's still happening. But I didn't think this would probably work out as well as I thought, at least at the time. But when I heard about this, I was like, sure, you can have it. And I have an attachment to this, so I probably cook hard. But let me just get into this thick of things. So these two are both protagonists of their own series that go into theme parks. Now, these theme parks are vastly different. One is originally meant to bring joy, while the other one is just here to scare the crap out of you. But there are many monsters, attractions, but in this, you find many items in both respective games. What was it, Prime?
I was gonna say, what can these two do in terms of in a fight?
They are. This is probably going to be very grounded, like very, very grounded. And that's what I like about it. They both have their. It's not about powers or anything. They have a variety of weapons at their disposal. I think Kiriko probably has a good amount of items at her disposal. Oh, there's this one key detail in the game where you could just get like organs and just have them put inside you just to boost your stats in a certain way. You could find like a brain and like a tube. It's just like, hey doctor, put this in me. And there's a cutscene where they do the procedure. Like it is like Dreamcast gore in Illbleed. Like this is as B movie horror as you can get with Illbleed. But like I think the interactions between these two would also be just as good. The writing of Illbleed is like it's so campy, you just can't help but love it. But also, like Crow Country also has very great moments. It's a very good game with good writing, and I think the dynamic would work between these two. I'd say like put them in like a theme park, like a mix between Illbleed and Crow Country, or just make a theme park, like have them fight each other.
They're fighting in Six Flags, baby.
Fine. Put them in a Six Flag. Let's go.
I think it would be cool.
Yeah, they're very underrated games, and I will like most definitely be very involved with this matchup because this was originally going to be on my show, but now it's here.
I do think there's something to say about representing those old, forgotten Dreamcast games. Like
the other one's not forgotten Dreamcast game, but like an indie game. The other one is just forgotten.
That's true. But if we ever had a time to putting on an obscure indie game, we got to put on Blue Stinger. I don't know if you guys know.
I was going to do Blue Stinger. You could switch these two out. You could switch these two out. LAG Blood or Erico Chrissy. Take your pick.
Yo!
Now it's Sherp's turn.
This Darkrai. Man, I feel like I've talked about this matchup so much. What else is there to say about it? I love Luna, one of my favorite My Little Pony characters. I think that all of her episodes are very fun watches. I like her character. Darkrai, one of the coolest Pokemon. In various streams I've gotten over, like, how, like, Darkrai was, like, bordering on, like, creepypasta status. Like, he was everyone has, like, their playground stories. When I was a kid, the playground stories were like, alright, how do we get Darkrai in this Pokemon game? How do you catch him? What do you do? Darkrai's so cool. I love him. I think this matchup is just super-duper fun. Super easy to make Halloween themed. Talking to Prime real quick on logistics, Darkrai and Luna searches go way up in October, so we do this for October. But anyway,
peak revenue.
I love Luna. I love Darkrai. I think this matchup would be really fun. It can be in both the real world and in the dreamscape. I think like interesting way to go about it would be like Darkrai has like shifting morality depending on the circumstance. So you could have him invading the dream space as just like a pure antagonist, and Luna has to deal with that. Or you could have, you could even potentially do something where like, I'm really just coming up with this right now, so I'm not sure the best way to do this, but you could have some way where like Darkrai starts off as like one of his more negative versions, but then like via fighting Luna, maybe he like gets cleansed and becomes better. I don't know. We'll workshop that anyway. I think this matchup's super cool. I think the debate's interesting. I think Darkrai debatably gets Creation Trio scaling, which is pretty competitive with like the Alicorn scaling of My Little Pony. I think like aesthetically this looks. Can we just talk about the thumbnail for a second? Like, you cooked.
I made that.
You made a really good thumbnail. This is super good. A nice.
I thought Nightmare Luna would work for this.
Yeah.
Because isn't that their theme between these two with nightmares?
The 10-second explanation is she got corrupted into this form, she got fixed back into her normal form, but she can access this form whenever she wants to because she can shapeshift. Yeah, I feel like I've talked about this a ton, and we got other matchups to talk about, but oh, I love this so much. I love this.
I wonder how many are left.
Yeah, like before.
Oh, I made that one too. I made this thumbnail too.
One quick thing I'll say is that, like some of the other matchups, Luna versus Darkrai is something we did on the Fan Battle Halloween cast, so if you want to learn more about that, check that out.
Yeah. I'll probably end up linking that after the stream is finished. This is Samus versus...
Versus the Xenomorphs.
Yeah, versus the Xenomorph Hut. So, this was another person we're working with that we've never revealed we're working with, so I'm not going to say it here.
This was a limited
It's
edition,
me.
right?
It's not you. Wait, you're working with us, Saul? What? No.
That's crazy. That's crazy, dude. But yeah, this was like a last minute edition, right?
This was a last minute switch, yes. The person who wanted to do this sent me essentially like a pitch message and like documents saying like, here's what we can do with this matchup. And like showed a lot of passion and hype for it. So it kind of sold me on it. You know, I'm very much a Samus Novatera guy, but this is such a different dynamic just intrinsically that it's legit really exciting. It's like, what would happen if Samus went on a ship or went to a planet infested with xenomorphs, and how awesome would it be for Samus to go through a bunch of xenomorphs attacking her? Usually these things just tear people apart. What if they met someone who's literally like, I can disintegrate you, freeze you, shoot you through walls and shit like that?
I mean, look at the thumbnail. It speaks for itself.
I guess the only question I would have here is, like, dynamically, can the xenomorphs even do anything? Can they even, like, are they even a threat in any way to Samus and her armor and stuff? When, like, the pretty basic Marines with basic weapons and aliens are able to cut xenomorphs down. I like, unless we went with, like, a composite xenomorph standpoint,
yeah,
looking
that's
at all
blood.
the iterations. Yeah, but I don't even know if the acid blood would be, like, a huge issue here with all the stuff that, like, especially if Samus is able to, like, freeze them entirely. I just, like, it's the one question that I have, like, dynamically, does this work as someone who, I love the Alien movies, right? Alien is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I feel like if we're just asking from like
I feel
an
like we
animation
can-
perspective, we could pretty easily make it where the aliens can like somewhat damage Samus in large numbers.
I understand.
I feel
the
like it's
logistics
large
part
numbers
of
type
it.
of thing.
I feel like I get the logistics part of it, right? If we were to do this, I would probably go with like composite the xenomorphs to whatever extent makes sense, right? There's a lot of media to pull from, and there's a lot that like the movies don't even cover, whether you're going through books, games, whatever.
Alien versus Predator.
There's that too.
Yeah.
So there's a lot you can pull from Alien to get a lot of arguments that you wouldn't necessarily find in the movie. So that's how I would do it necessarily.
I've seen some like composite stuff for like Xenomorphs within reason, but like honestly, like I think they're not helpless against Samus. They got some pretty scary stuff if we're gonna go a little bit like a composite. And like, they are not to be messed with. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess just I'm not really sold on this in terms of like, I love the xenomorphs, you know?
Yeah, well, I will also add that Samus has been like caught off guard by foreign alien entities before. Most notoriously, the X-Parasites in Metroid Fusion was able to like put her in like a catatonic state for a second, and they even took her old power suit. So I could, if she's not familiar with them, then the Xenomorphs could definitely catch her off guard with some of their stranger abilities.
I think the issue for me here is like this is looking at Samus as like a whole. We're not taking one specific game version. I don't see, particularly in my opinion, how Samus as a whole could struggle against these.
Again, it all
You can make
depends.
it work.
Numbers.
I like the way of like acid doing chip damage over time. I think that's a fun little narrative thread.
Again,
Use
there's so much alien you can look at in terms of what you can use.
I mean,
for
I
scaling,
would love to research the Xenomorphs for this. I worry that they're just gonna like
get bodied.
be the
No, that
yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
that's a fair worry, but
We got numbers.
Well, yeah, there's numbers. Saul's main concern isn't that the numbers don't exist. It's that they have a bunch of numbers, but it doesn't mean anything if they can't pierce the suit, right?
I think my
But I
What
think
is it?
there's a lot of things you could take from Alien to get them higher scaling. And it would also be interesting to see where exactly Samus would scale, because I feel like Metroid
Right.
is a little underscaled.
No, Samus just got a blog.
Oh, did she? I did not see
Yeah, this is Firefly.
She's like
country
country
gross.
level.
Wait, from Honkai Star Rail?
Yeah,
That
it was just
Firefly?
like yes. So like it's just I feel like I don't know. It's cool as like if you want to see Samus body like Xenomorphs for like 4 minutes, but as someone who's really into this for the Xenomorphs,
I like it.
I don't really feel like I get a lot out of this as an idea. Maybe I could
mean,
be
there's
proven
Alien
wrong,
versus-
but
It's one of those things. We'll see what people. You know what I mean?
Well,
Uh,
do
I mean, there's
one-
Alien versus Predator, so I guess bounty hunter type of thing.
Yeah, I do
I
got
think
one more.
we could definitely be careful to keep in mind to not make the Xenomorph just see like a bunch of fodder. We would want to write the Xenomorphs in a way that sell
Oh,
how
yeah.
like compellingly scary they can be.
I think definitely compositing them would be interesting to do. But even then, I worry that might not even be enough.
I feel like there's like a bunch of types we can like put out there.
there's
Yeah.
a lot, definitely a lot you could do in terms of just
With a
looking at it.
xenomorph.
I understand the concern though, but I still think it's a cool idea, regardless.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
no,
pretty cool.
I
I
do have-
love it, dude. Like,
Also, just to say, the theme of Nebula Theater is based on Metroid, and the templates we used for episode 1 were based on the Alien Isolation game. So obviously, I have a love for both series. So obviously, I want to talk about both
This
series.
is a very us match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so what do you all
Also-
think about the thumbnail?
Oh, the thumbnail's really good. I like the like
What?
the basic each other. Like,
Guys, I know how to solve this issue. We just used the Xenomorph that birthed from the Parademon in DC.
Let's go. Yeah. Chat to,
Do we give Samus Smash Bros scaling at that point?
No.
But y'all did just remind me of one
Oh.
more thing. I just wanted to go over. Oh snap, that's a good matchup. But like one more thing, real quick. So y'all just reminded me because like a good pal, Thick Grimes, he did work on like a blog with like the Xenomorphs. They did come out. I think it's this year, like about 3 months ago. I think 2-3 months. But basically, it's like Sarah Connor, like Ellen Ripley, right? But like essentially with the Xenomorphs, you got an idea, at least of how powerful they are with like the idea of the compositing we got. Like the highest I see them, like Xenomorphs get, like is a bit end, like they survived like a destruction of like let's think it's Haley's Hope. I'm reading the blog right now for like I'll probably look in the live chat, but basically that gets around 40 megatons of TNT. That's like the best
Not bad.
case scenario, right? And then like for their speed, they can scale to characters that like can dodge particle beams moving at 99% speed of light, right? So they do have it's still very impressive. Let's say even Samus eclipses that. I don't think anyone's expecting
Someone,
Xenomorphs to be that strong.
I just want to mention someone said in chat, Baraka Morph when Samus going up the Baraka Morph from Mortal Kombat would genuinely be the coolest thing ever, and would tell me on this matchup.
Let's go!
I would be like the Mortal Kombat one. One of the variations is literally a Tarkatan one, and I just think one with arm blades fighting Samus close quarters would be so cool. I'd be down to do it.
Let's
Oh,
Like a
go.
planet of
You
Xenomorphs.
know what? That's
I
fair.
want to do that for the animation at least.
Dude,
That sounds
dude.
metal as hell.
Dude, I'd cook for the Blender. I'm a Blender animator. I would cook.
All
Dark
right,
Pit
so
versus-
And this is the last one, by the way, just so everyone knows.
Let's
Quite
go.
like
I
Lilith.
can take the
think
lead on
Lilith
this
is
one.
A very fun Darkstalkers character. I think
Oh,
her
yeah.
story is really cool, and I would love to cover it.
all right, so this is Dark Pit versus Lilith, Kid Icarus versus Darkstalkers. The connection for this one is both of them are doppelgangers of protagonists from their series whose life are intrinsically tied to the people they are based on. Dark Pit is the manifestation of Pit's dark side after being
Through the mirror
raised
truth?
after the mirror truth, yes. And Lilith is literally a third of Morgan's power removed by her father and given her own life, just out of fear that Morgan's own potential would be too strong. And as a result, both of them start to resent their original ones just because they want to be their own thing. But, then they discover that their life force is intrinsically tied to them. And as far as Dark Pit goes, he learns to resentfully, get along with Pit, and then Pit saves his life, and then they kind of have, a cool frenemy type thing going on. Lilith,
Chaos
she
Ken?
absolutely despises Morgan, yet even in her own story, when she wins, she doesn't even kind of get a good ending because she ends up accidentally merging back into Morgan and then just stops existing. But the cool thing about this one is that both are the dark doppelgangers of their hero counterparts, and I think they also have some cool dynamics. Dark Pit would have access to the same arsenal Pit has, although he does have his favorites like the Silver Bow and the
Dark Pit staff?
Well, unlike Morgan, who's a zoner, Lilith is kind of more. You won't know it because she's a bit more thinner and petite, but she's actually the bruiser rushdown of the two. Her body turns into axes, and she just goes in and just does not stop hitting. She hits like a truck in the games. So it would be really cool to kind of seeing Dark Pit kind of being more long range and
Shooter character versus brawler.
Yeah, and we also have the cool angel versus demon dynamic, which is really fitting for Halloween.
Heaven and hell.
Even though Dark Pit's kind of like a fallen angel, I think it still works well enough because he does end up serving Verity in after the fact.
At the end of the game, and
Well,
also
yeah.
it's mentioned in the Smash Palatine's guidance.
Yeah, which considering the same director, I believe.
Master Sakai, GOAT.
Yep. But yeah, that is the main kind of dynamics between this one. Darkstalkers versus Kid Icarus would be a really fun combination, and I know there are a few people on the team who would love to work on this one. Same people working on
Kid Icarus, childhood fanboy, hello.
Yeah.
Lilith might be my favorite Darkstalkers character.
Honestly,
You can
same.
correct me if I'm wrong. I don't actually think Lilith ceases to exist. If I understand the story correctly, Lilith fuses with Morgan's left arm, but now that that aspect of Lilith is part of Morgan, which is a real body, Lilith can now kind of just project themselves whenever they want. So it's it's like they're a part of Morgan now, but they can kind of just leave and do their own thing now. If I remember.
Wait,
correctly.
really? I didn't know
I
that
think
part.
so. I thought that's how it was, but I could be wrong.
Maybe it was a thing they did in the comics. I have not seen the comics. I only played the games, and the games leave off with Lilith becoming a ring on Morgan's finger, which is ironic
the
because
idea-
Pit was also turned into a ring.
I think one of the theories is that Lilith is Morgan's aspect of their childhood innocence, and that's why they become nicer once they refuse or something.
Yeah,
I
we'd
think
have
that's
to
what the theory
re-look
was.
into it just to get Lilith's exact story down. But either way, I think the dynamics between this one is strong, especially if Lilith becomes just doing her own thing, because then they're both resent their creators, but then learn to live with them type of thing, which I think is really cool for dynamics.
Yeah, I think this matchup is really cool. I saw the connections a long time ago, but I think what really also sold me is just, I don't know, this matchup's super vibey to me. Okay, so I remember a long time ago, Brandon Yates dropped a track for this matchup, and the track and track art was dude, it was so good. I'm like, yo, this is like, it was one of my, I'd say for Brandy East tracks and track cars, it's one of my favorites of like all time. I really do like the aesthetic of this matchup. And I want to learn more about Lilith because I knew more about Dark Pick, Lilith, right? So looked at the lore about it. I was like, oh, damn, it's kind of sad actually. But like, like, I don't know. I think, yeah, I would be super down for us to like do this episode. I really do like this idea. I have to think something we got to do at some point.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, by the way, because you'd mentioned it before, in the manga, Lilith can be manifested if her and Morgan both agree to do so, and this happens, and Lilith ends up living her own life.
Oh shit! I didn't know there was a Darkstalker manga. Okay, I need to
Lilith
go.
is kind of like Morgan's stand when you really think about it.
JoJo reference, let's go, baby!
Morgan versus Jotaro run, guys.
Get out of here right now. You're fired.
There's the door.
You're done. You're done.
He actually left. He left. Oh, there he is.
He's out. He's like, he dipped. He's like, nah.
All right. So, Dark Lord's
So that's it.
Oh, no, he's here. And that's the last matchup.
No, Zoro left. Zoro left.
Oh, Zoro's
I came
right.
back.
Zoro left for a bit.
Zoro's back.
You said to leave, so I left.
That is the bracket for what we are calling the Halloween casting call, named courtesy by Zoro.
Yep, trademark, do not steal.
On Friday, Tropataku, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I will be editing a trailer or a little thing that will reveal the first 4 matchups that you will be voting on.
Yes, so
You can choose. You have a choice. So every week we will be revealing each matchup. Sorry, you go on, sir. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You
want to, but yeah, every week we will be revealing 4 matchups that you can vote on. This will go on until there is only one. Now, we already talked about the matchups. It's up to you now. So go on Friday and vote.
The main reason I wanted to do a stream explaining the matchups ahead of time is because there's so many matchups that happen in, like, Death Battles Post or whatever that people just don't know about, and then they just immediately lose because nobody even gets the appeal before they see, like, a more popular matchup, right? And so I thought it'd be interesting to, like, explain what the potential to these matchups are before having everyone vote on it. So that was the main idea with this stream. We're going to go back after this to more traditional Nebula Theater cast. I'm going to be asking for matchups, and we will talk about them on stream, and they will follow themes. Whether it's like, we've done a final boss one, we've done a fighting game one. I think we did a fighting game one.
Yep.
So
we won't do 30 in one episode.
No, I usually try to stick
question,
around 20 to 22.
Question. Are we doing the voting every Friday?
Fridays, yep.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Fridays.
And if you want to let us know your opinions on these 32 matchups before Friday comes, then join our Discord server and complete our tier list that we've made for these 32 matchups, so we can see how y'all
what you think
32 matchups, what ones y'all want to see.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will make a channel on the Discord. It's currently in the description.
I'm already doing it.
Give us your opinion.
Give
us your opinion. We want to hear it.
The Discord's link is in the live stream, so if you want to come join, hang out, and talk about the Nebula Theater, the show, or whatever, hop on in. But I think that's everything we have, because Sherman Darklore have a debate in an hour. So
join us on the Fan Battle Cast, where we will debate the highly debatable, nail-biting, debatable matchup of Clive Rosefield versus Aaron Yeager.
Oh.
Aaron Stomp, I don't know how the person that's arguing for Clive's going to take this. I don't know how they're going to do it.
I'm making a rule for this cast. I'm making a self-imposed rule for this cast. Who's repping Aaron Yeager?
Me.
Master.
If you get a single vote, you win, okay? It doesn't matter if you don't get the majority. If you convince even one person that Aaron Yeager wins, I will consider you the winner of that cast.
But you will win.
You might not win the cast, but you win the sympathy vote.
Yeah, you win in Plime size, and that's ironically better than winning in everyone else's eyes. All right.
That is true. I
These are
respect
possible.
you.
Imagine the
more
voice
than,
just flying
like,
himself.
most people on
In any case, so we're gonna stop this
Oh,
now.
you're
I
right.
gotta go eat. Everyone's got shit to do, so we'll see y'all later.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Hey guys, thanks for your free support. Watch out for Subakazu.
Bye. Have a good time.
Bye.